love her, but man, jeez.
Good. Are you guys all going to be there this week in Orlando?
Yeah, on Thursday.
Thursday, and I have to leave Friday night, taking the train back. I have to do a presentation.
Okay.
So I just found that out. So I'm going to cancel it. So I'm going to come back. This is Friday. Take a 2 o'clock train. Stay all day. The generation. So just
Is your lantern? Excuse me, lantern.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is 6:01 p.m., August 12th, 2025, and this is our regular council meeting. Laurie, can I get roll call, please? No problem.
Okay. Mayor Molly Young,
Here.
Vice Mayor Sartory,
Here.
Councilmember Brandon,
Here.
Councilmember Painter,
Here.
Councilmember French.
Here.
Thank you. And the invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Vice Mayor Sartory.
join me in a moment of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to gather here tonight with residents and people that really, really care about the village of Tequesta. Be mindful that everyone here, be it staff, members of the council, residents, have worked a full day and they've debated all day long and they've discussed issues. And please give us a clear mind and an open heart as we may hear different opinions, and that's okay. I will give thanks to our first responders. As I've said in prior invocations, they leave their house every day and they leave their family to protect people they may never meet again. And for that, we are always very grateful. There's a lot going on in the world. Please guide, guard, and watch over the people that run the United States, our troops that are here and abroad, and may the people that are running our country have the same care, compassion, and conviction that I know the people and the residents and the council members of Tequesta have. Guide, guard, and watch over us as we finish out this week. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, our first presentation today, agenda item 1, presentation by United Way of Palm Beach County for Hunger Action Month and a proclamation declaring September 2025 as Hunger Action Month in the village of Tequesta. I do not believe anyone from United Way is here. Nope, so we'll skip the presentation and we will not read the proclamation in for record. Agenda item 2 is our legislative presentation by our lobbyist, Ken Pruitt. Ken, I believe you're joining us via Zoom.
Can you see me yet?
Nope.
I apologize. My video doesn't seem to be working.
No problem. We can hear you loud and clear, though, so if you want to,
Okay.
the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. And I apologize for not being there in person and appreciate you all being accommodating me via Zoom. I have a brief legislative update for you. As you know, the legislature ended on June 16th after 105 days in the legislative session. And Laurie, do you have are we on slide 1?
Hold on just a second, Ken.
Okay, thank you. So they were in session for 105 days, and which is normally they go through a 60-day legislative session. And there was obviously some differences of opinion, particularly between the House and Senate, but they did resolve all those, and so they sine died on June 16th.
It's gonna be just a minute if you wanna. I have to
Okay.
pull it out.
So just to fill you in, there were 1,959 bills that were filed. Of that 1,959, 269 actually passed, and then we had 11 vetoes by the governor. The state budget overview, just to give you a perspective of it, in the 2004 legislative session, they passed a $116.5 billion budget, and the budget that they passed, and this took effect on July 1st, had a 1.2% reduction. So the total budget, the state budget's $115.1 billion, and then the governor issued $567 million worth of vetoes. The reserves are in the $20+ billion range, which is excellent for the state. Obviously, the bond rating, just to kind of give you a perspective, for every family in Florida, the bond indebtedness to the state for families is about $400. And when you compare that at the federal level, the state of Florida really is doing a great job in keeping its bond indebtedness down to a minimum. We had some key local government bills that affected the village that we were that we monitored and watched very closely. One of them was House Bill 11, and while it didn't directly affect the village, it would have indirectly affected us, because there was another bill that did not pass that would have directly affected us. And the reason I bring this up is because it's really important for us that when these bills come up, that number one, we try to kill them. This one happened to be a food fight between Miami Gardens and North Miami, and that bill did pass, but it was vetoed by the governor. That was House Bill 11. And I bring that up specifically because there was another bill that would have really impacted the village, and that was Senate Bill 1704 and House Bill 1523. While the House bill did pass, the Senate bill did not, and that one, Jeremy, we're on page 4. Thank you. So that one would have directly affected us. And what was good about the veto was particularly what the governor said about it, is that these are issues that need to be resolved at the local level and not done through Tallahassee. So what we're hopeful for is that these bills won't be sponsored again in the future, knowing that the governor, particularly, he still has a couple of sessions left, and so where the governor would veto those bills anyway. The one bill that we were not supportive of that did pass was House Bill 683. That's the bill that allows for the synthetic turf installation. That one is going to be going through the Department of Environmental Protection for the rulemaking process. So we're going to be watching that very closely. That one is the one where it, obviously for those lawns that are less than 1 acre, that would be applicable to. And again, they had another glitch bill for the Live Local Act. There wasn't a great deal added to that would affect it, that would affect really the village, except for a PUD. We know the Live Local is applicable in industrial and commercial mixed use, and it's also going to be available in the PUD. We don't know, this has now been the third iteration of the Live Local Act, and whether or not there will be glitch bills in the future, it's just important for us to continue to monitor those to make sure that nothing arbitrary will happen to the village in the future. There were a myriad, I'm on page 5, Jeremy, please. There were a myriad of bills that died, and that's what happens in the legislative process. A little bit over 10% of the bills that are filed actually do pass. But if you look at that list, there were a lot of property tax exemptions. There are homestead property assessments. So it really has lent itself to the conversation that they're talking about now with property tax reform. And Jeremy, if you could do the next slide, number 6, please. Which leads us into taxation. The legislature passed a $2 billion tax cut. That is a recurring tax cut. So when you look at when they cut that much, 900 million of that was the business rent tax that is completely eliminated in the state of Florida. And if you remember in years gone by, you'd have all those back to school sales tax exemptions. They were all non-recurring, and what they've done is they've made those permanent in the future. So they're not going to have to go back and pass them every year, but those will be permanent. For instance, if you buy a generator, it's going to be tax exempt all year long. And then we had some of the local tax issues. The tourist development tax is something, particularly if it impacts the village, you want to pay real close attention to that for next session. There's some issues that they did, particularly up on the West Coast, about lifeguards and using the tourist development taxes to pay for those. But what that is that's really the segue into the property tax reform measure that the legislature is going to be addressing. Mayor, I know you're the vice chair of the policy for the legislative policy for the League of City. That's a great position for the village to be in, to where you're going to have a loud voice there. We have met with both of the co-chairs of the House, Representative Lopez and Representative Overdorf, who's from Martin County. We've met with them. We've discussed with them the impacts of not just going in and just wholesale doing the property tax reform, but more or less if they're going to be doing it. And I can assure you, it appears at this point in time that something is going to be done is to go with a scalpel and not so much with the cleaver. So Jeremy, on slide number 7, so the legislative session, these are the dates that are going to be, the committee weeks are starting in earnest October 6th, and with the legislative session, it's an early session. In an election year, which is the even year, they always have the session in January, and in the odd year, they have it in March. So this one will start on June 13th, and in 60 days will end up on March 13th. The Martin delegation meeting, and there's a reason I'm sharing this one with you, although we're the Palm Beach one, the Martin delegation meeting is tentatively set for October 21st, and the Palm Beach delegation meetings are September 30th, October 23rd, and the one that's really important for us is going to be October 13th, and you're already there, Jeremy, thank you. So this is why the November 13th local bill delegation meeting is important to us, is because if the village decides to go ahead and move forward on that, and that is to take ownership of the Tequesta Regional Park, the 41.1 acre park located in Martin County. Because of the village being in Palm Beach County and the land actually being in Martin County, we're going to have to go to both delegation meetings and get support from both the Martin County delegation and also the Palm Beach delegation. And we've been working closely, thanks to the mayor and the village manager, that we've been working closely both of our senator and our House member Schneider and Gail Harrell, our senator, have agreed to sponsor it. Local bills go through the House only, and then they're affirmed in the Senate, and Representative Schneider has agreed to go ahead and sponsor that, which is huge for us, as well as Senator Harrell. Both are senior members in leadership, and so we feel very confident that having their support will at least get the bill moving and at least to be heard. And then to wrap it up a little bit, we've got the legislative leadership is still going to be Ben Albritton as the Senate President, and then the House Speaker is Daniel Perez. They will remain in their post. It's a 2-year term. They've just completed their first year, and now they're entering their second year in that legislative position. And then finally, we've got some special elections that are going to be happening. The untimely and unfortunate passing of Representative Joe Casello. He represents Boynton Beach, Ocean Ridge, and Delray, along with Blaise Ngolia. Senator Ngolia, as you may know, is now the Chief Financial Officer for the state of Florida. And so there will be a special election, and those will take place on September 30th. And of course, we have a brand new Lieutenant Governor. Jay Collins is now the Lieutenant Governor of Florida. And so there will be a special election that will be held for his Senate seat as well. And with that, we've got there's a lot going on. We thought we'd at least be able to catch our breath over the summer, but that has not been the case. The legislature, they're going to be hitting the ground running here shortly. Their delegation meetings have already been taking place throughout the state, and obviously we're going to be having ours as well here shortly. So with that, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to serve and to represent the village, the citizens of the village, and to serve you as well, and appreciate that opportunity, and happy to take any comments or questions.
Thank you, Ken. Council, I'll open it for any questions or comments for Ken.
No questions.
I have one question, one comment. Hi, Ken. Thanks for the presentation. Councilmember French. Short-term rentals. We can connect that to home rule or directly to a short-term rental bill. It's a big concern of mine for Tequesta, the amount of short-term rentals, specifically Airbnb type rentals that have been popping up in the neighborhood. Do you have any direction or suggestions on where we can go with that?
Councilmember French, thank you for bringing that issue up. Just when you think it's losing steam, it rises from the phoenix. So that one makes us very nervous, and so we're watching that closely. It didn't get any legs on it last session, but a lot of times the second year of a term of a presiding officer, sometimes they will then make it a priority. And oftentimes what happens too is that the incoming presiding officers, they don't want to deal with the issue. So what they do is they ask the current presiding officer to get it off their plate so they don't have to deal with it. But this issue causes a lot of concern throughout the state of Florida, and if I had to handicap it, I would say that it's one that every year that it is brought up and it continues to lose steam, the better it is for us. But you got to be diligent and watching, because you just never know about these stealth amendments that come up at the 11th and a half hour. So I can assure you, sir, we will be watching it closely.
Thank you for that response. Do you have any direct info of who's lobbying for these, where it comes from?
You know what's interesting about that is that they didn't even Airbnb with when you talk to their lobbyists, they were like, we've run out of gas on it. We're not pushing it. But you know what happens oftentimes is that issues get stirred up. I call them rabbit droppings, but they get stirred up, and whether or not they're trying to create business for themselves. But this is one of those issues that we cannot definitively tell you that it's the Airbnb or one of the other companies that's actually pushing it. It's not like it was a few years ago when it was all hands on deck. They had hired just about every lobby firm imaginable to do it. That's just not the case now. So we just hear about it last year, particularly. It was one that just they talked about it a little bit and then nothing happened really. But I always worry about these last minute amendments. 60 days is a long time. This year was 105. So that's a long time for issues to be considered and brought up. And until they hit the gavel and sine die, we just have to be on alert. But there's no single company out there that, particularly as you compare it to years past, that's pushing the issue any longer.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Ken, just one quick, well, first of all, thank you for all you and Megan do for us up in Tallahassee. You guys are working hard all the time. I know everyone doesn't see it, but just like you said, you've, met with the House Committee chairs for the property tax, and, you've been working behind the scenes on that local bill, so thank you for all you guys do. On Senate Bill 180, we spoke about this at our last council workshop, and there is a section in it that talks about restricting or preempting us from doing any land use changes until, I believe it was 2027.
It says 2027, and then it's also, you can't go back retroactive to 2024, yes.
Right, and that did impact a huge project, like an almost 3-year project that we did with overlay districts here in Tequesta. And, we did not get any storm damage here. I mean, I think we had a couple trees down, but there was not significant damage from Milton in Tequesta. I know there's some other organizations that are already starting to advocate against that. Do you know what the temperature is for next session on maybe making some amendments to that?
Well, Mayor, I completely agree with you, is that it is an issue that's being discussed broadly with other organizations. And I believe that, yes, there will be not only legislation filed, but there will also be amendments that would be put on every land use bill imaginable. So you will see that issue come back. Whether or not, it's a lot easier to kill a bill or kill an amendment than it is to pass one. And so whether or not it would see the light of day, I can't predict that. I believe that there's going to be such a focus on property taxes, on property tax reform, that's going to be taking the oxygen out of the place. And all these other issues, the preemption issues like in 180, I just don't know how much attention that they're going to get. But, you can't just lay idle and just, let it happen by, just hope it's going to happen. You've got to be aggressive about it. So I fully appreciate what the Association of Counties, I know the League of Cities is going to be aggressive about it. There's going to be 1,000 Friends of Florida and other organizations doing it as well. So this is not the last that you're going to see of this issue.
Okay, I believe there was consensus at our last meeting that we were in favor of, keeping an ear on that and advocating against just specifically those land use change preemptions. So yeah, Ken, that's really important to us. If we keep your ear to the ground and let us know what we could do to, potentially help anything next session to at least get those land use preemptions out of there.
And I believe, Mayor, and I appreciate that. If there's some way that if there's a way to do it instead of wholesale taking out the entire, both of those provisions, if there's a way to do it in a longitude-latitude approach, if that's something that we could perhaps discuss in that way, because when you try to take it all on, I just believe you're going to have a more difficult time. Particularly, it had very strong sponsors on both sides. And so, it's not going to go away easily unless you, I believe, come in with some alternative language that doesn't wipe it all out wholesale.
Agree. Yeah, and my thought off the top of my head was, cities I did not have any damage from the storm, maybe, you know, would be excluded. But I think maybe that's something we could workshop in the future, some language, Keith, maybe that's something you could think about with Jay even. So yeah, we'll give that some thought, maybe we'll workshop that again, and we'll give you something to work with.
And Mayor, thank you. And you know, Rebecca O'Hare's at the League of Cities. She's the best in the business. So if there's anybody who can come up with it, it'll be Rebecca.
Yep. Right. Okay. Anything else, council?
I have nothing. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Ken, for your time tonight. We
All right. Well,
appreciate
thank
it.
you all.
Take
All right.
care.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye now.
Okay, moving on to presentation 3, a proclamation recognizing Richard Radcliffe on his 14 years of service to the Palm Beach County League of Cities. He is not here tonight, so we won't read it into the record. He would like to be here, but he felt very strongly if he went to one, he had to go to all, and he could not possibly make it to all of the city council meetings. But his last meeting is August 27th, so if you guys are available and care to come to his last general membership meeting, we would love to see you there. Okay, our last presentation, agenda item 4, is a presentation by our intern, Ginossi. Did I say that correctly? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Joseph Ginossi, and I'll be doing this presentation on different performance indicators across different municipalities in the area.
The clicker's there if you want to try that.
Okay.
Isn't it backwards? Like forwards is back and back is.
Might turn it on.
Thanks. So these are the municipalities that were chosen. They're based on a comparison study done earlier this year. It's organized by the population, and right here it's just showing which services are provided by the different municipalities. So for the scale of population we have, we do provide a lot of services compared to ones around our population. So that's kind of what I gathered here. Here we have the average home cost. It's number I got was 600,000 average home cost. That's towards the higher end with the ones that we have compared here. So it's a nice area. It's I got it from this. And you see here we have the general fund. It's general fund and the general fund per resident. The same municipalities with the higher average home cost are also the ones with the higher general fund per resident, and so we're kind of in the same area right here, which it shows we have a lot to provide for the residents here. These are the employees per 1,000 for each department, or for some of them. We have 16 employees per 1,000, which is we have a lot to provide for the residents based on this one. So here we have the seasonal residents. This is what this shows right here is that at certain points during the year we have more people being customers for our departments, and we still then it seems so. It looks like 6,000. It's actually a little more, and that's also the just to note the utilities department services 15,000 people. So it's more than it just seems based on the census. So here we going to go on to part breaking down the different departments. Here we have the violent crime rate per 1,000 residents. Here in Tequesta we have had 0 for the past 3 fiscal years, which is very good compared to some of the other cities where, I mean, we're the lowest easily. And when you look at some of the previous statistics about the home cost and all that stuff, and in this, it's a nice place to raise kids. It's safe and all that. And then this is the burglary rate. It's very similar. We're low here too, the lowest. So it's a very safe place. Here we go to the fire department. We have the ALS calls. We're on the higher side here, but that is because we have a larger population of older people, which is likely the cause for this. So that's explanation. Then we have the BLS calls, and it's a similar case here. And yeah. So in the IT department, we are kind of in the middle range, which is good because it's there's not many problems with the technology, and it's probably means that we're efficient with everything. So that's the IT department. Parks and Recreation, total park acreage per resident. We have a lot of park acreage considering our size and everything, which is good because it provides people a lot of places to go outside and be safe and interact with the others. So it's looking good. And then total park maintenance per resident is pretty low, but the parks are maintained regardless with that. So we have this, and then human resources. The full-time employee annual turnover rate has came down in the past few years, and it brought us from the higher to a lower number, which is good retention. Move on to average cost per hire. This is comparing a couple cities, but we're on the lower end. So that's that. Utilities. Water main breaks per 100 miles of pipe. It's below the national average for 2023. That was a study done by Utah University. So we have that. Good pipes. Here we have the customer service calls per 1,000 residents, and these can be anything from just phone calls, accidental phone calls to the wrong department, paying a bill, just general questions, and we're pretty low here, so it tells me the customers are probably pretty satisfied. Building permits, we have 1,000 permits per 1,000 residents, and there's development here more than some other places, but it's that. And then revenue derived from fees per resident. So we're doing that about $150 per resident, just about there. And then this is the important thing: we carry forward a lot per year compared to some other municipalities. So it's fiscal responsibility right here, which is good. Risk management, workers' compensation for sworn fire EMS. We have Village of Tequesta it's pretty safe. 2022 was high, but it came down, and we're on the lower end of things. And then for law enforcement, I think this also reflects the crime statistics pretty low. Law enforcement, workers' compensation, which is good. And then here we have the total workers' compensation, and we're at a medium range here, which is good. Here we have the clerk. This is the average time to fulfill records request. Ours is a little over 3 days, which is speedy, way below the national number. So we can get back to residents quickly. And then public information. Here's our Facebook posts. Engaged with the community. And here the Facebook reach. Right here we have spike in 2024, and we have the engagement right here. In 2022, we the village made a push to be more engaged on social media, and I think that shows, and then kind of went back to a level number. And then it's a similar story with Instagram, where more engaged in some of the peer communities, but yeah. And then with the Instagram reach, I guess that's a similar story, spiking recently. Yeah, right here, the engagement rate. It's kind of difficult to get numbers from the other communities for this, but again, the 2022 push for social media shown right there. And then community development. Tequesta, there's a lot of land applications, but yeah, compared to some of the other ones, which is it's a developing city. And here we have public works. This is the village of Tequesta has decent, like middle public works budget per resident, which I think means that we have a fiscal responsibility with that. And then here's the end.
Thank you for that very insightful presentation. Council, do you have any comments or questions?
I do not, thank you.
I hope you enjoyed your time. I heard you got to float through each department. I think most of our interns get to do that, and I love that our village welcomes interns as a whole. They don't just get stuck in one department. Because I like our youth to be able to go out in the world and be well-rounded, and you can be more helpful as the next generation. Thank you for some of those numbers. I'm proud of some of those numbers. Thanks to the clerk's office, because I know you guys do a lot of the engagement controlling, whether it's pretty much any type of medium, right? And just to share, I mean, I remember when government didn't even use social media, and I know that was a big jump many moons ago for government to take that jump. Yeah, thank you. And I really do hope you took something, and I hope you got to meet with each one of us at some point, pick our brains, and good luck to your next adventure, whatever it may be.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Good job. How did you obtain the social media reach from the other municipalities?
I asked them. They submitted a FOIA request. Some of them sent them back after a few days. Some of them didn't, or they took too long. But yeah, that's how I got them.
Thank you. Great job.
Yeah, as well. Thank you. The same comments that you've already heard from my colleagues, but thank you for the work that you did, and some of the information that you provided us may be very poignant and salient in the coming months. So thank you very much.
Yeah, just a question kind of similar to Councilmember French. How did you get most of this data? Was it reaching out to the cities? Were you able to utilize AI? Like how did you put all that together?
Yeah, so some of it was AI, but then I would go to the like the CAFR or the budget and see that it's there. But it would kind of tell me like, hey, this is where it is on the website. Go look here. And then that was for like the first half of it. But then the more department specific numbers were FOIA requests, and also going into the CAFR. That's why some of them had fewer municipalities on them, just because some got back to me, some didn't. So, yeah.
That was great, and thank you for choosing to spend your summer here with us. And yeah, good luck on your next adventure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. It was a fun time here.
Thank you,
Very
Joseph.
nice.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Laurie, do we have any comment cards for the consent agenda? No. Any public comment on the consent agenda? No? All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, if I could on that, the Palm Beach Roadrunners are here. I just want to say thank you for coming. You know, great news is that the item wasn't pulled, but thank you for what you guys do. It's an amazing event for us in the village of Tequesta every year to host, to be the hometown of this. So thank you very, very much for coming out tonight. Thank you for all that you guys do.
Thank you.
Wow.
Great. Wow. Fantastic. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
That's a classic
Hey.
move.
And on to communications from citizens. Laurie, do we have any cards for items that are not on tonight's agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Marcia Nielsen.
I wish to address, forgive my voice, my husband says, good thing I lost it. I wish to address the discussion at the workshop on August 4th regarding the charitable giving. Historically, many groups came to the village meeting to look for donations. At that time, PowerPoint was a dream and the presentations were verbal and didn't take that long. However, they varied and were prevalent. From the council's viewpoint, there were two major problems. One, did not have time to research each cause to see if the donation was appropriate. And two, it was embarrassing to say no publicly. The solution was the discretionary fund. This allowed each individual councilperson to donate as he or she saw fit. There was transparency to a point, of course, as all records are public, but the donations were, I might say, more thoughtful. After each councilperson had a limited amount of money to donate. If you proceed as it seems to be your intention, you will open the door again to various presentations from groups seeking funds. You will be in the position of having to say no publicly or support those efforts that perhaps you would not personally donate to. If the charity ultimately comes under public scrutiny, there will be embarrassment. You will have to earmark certain amounts for public donations, and that amount will escalate as more groups approach. The solution, as I say it, is quite simple. Discretionary funds should be restricted to charitable donations. Travel should be separate line in the budget, and council members should have to adhere to the village travel policy as all employees do. This is, after all, only fair and would eliminate eye-popping expenses. The changes you make today will impact future councils, so I respectfully suggest thoughtfulness before adding a budget item for donations. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Marcia.
you. Laurie, any other cards?
Conchetta Pesci. Christina Vander West.
Thank you. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Christina van der Westhuizen. My address is 113B Lighthouse Circle, Tequesta, Florida. Right, I'm here to address the village on the quiet zone. I remember being here last year, and we had a meeting and we spoke about it. I walked away feeling very happy, thinking something is going to happen by March of this year. Nothing has happened. Have we heard anything from the village? No. I'm a firm believer in communications. It took an email from me personally and from the board of Tequesta, at Tequesta Trace, to get a response. I'm extremely angry about it because night after night, day after day, we are physically being thrown out of our homes. We cannot enjoy it because of the noise at Tequesta Drive and Old Dixie. I feel that somehow or other, the council, Tequesta, the village has really dragged their legs on this one. Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, quiet. I work in Palm Beach Gardens. I can't believe the silence. Why are we not there yet? Now I got this email saying that we have to wait for the, sorry, I have to look at my notes, the railroad administration, for the Federal Railroad Administration. It's more than a year. Why haven't we done it? Right? And then once we sign that agreement, it can take up to another 8 months. That means another year we have to suffer like this. And I'm telling you, we are suffering. Not last night, but the night before, I was prepared to go into the back bathroom and sleep on the floor. So you know what that's doing to our stress levels. I feel as the residents, we have the right to really appeal to you to move this faster and to keep us updated. We really need an update. This whole thing is harmful to our health, our well-being, our property values. People come there to buy it, and then they hear that crazy train going past there. Honk, 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 4 times. The 4th time, it's like an extra minute. right? So it's impacting our property values too. Every night, as I said, the stress levels is so high, and yet my friends in Jupiter and Palm Beach Gardens, they don't hear a train. So please, me, Tequesta Trace, I'm on the board, as you know. Now, if you don't know, I am on the board. We need a clear public timeline, firm deadlines. We need a commitment that you are actually going to be doing something. I know might impact the budget, I don't know. But again, I feel a year has been too long that we've heard nothing. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I know we sent a response to the board today. Jeremy, just for public record, would you like to maybe kind of go over the high points on that?
Yeah, we got the letter today and we responded the same day. We have got a couple of requests for information on that, and we typically respond as soon as we get it. Just as a high level, I guess, recap of this, back in 23 when this first started, about the time Jupiter and Gardens were applying and going through their process, we met with Treasure Coast and a representative from FRA, the Federal Railroad Administration, did a site visit. They told us our railroad crossing was available to do a quiet zone, and we met all the requirements. And then 24, when we actually did a site visit, they told us that the requirements had changed and we were going to need to put in double arms on the other side. So that was going to be a $600,000 hit to the budget. At that point, we reached out to TPA for funding. TPA advised us there was potential funding out there. We had to go through an application process. There's some other key dates in here, but we have got a commitment from Brightline to help fund that. We are in negotiations, I'll say, with an agreement to do that. That railroad crossing, there has been some stipulations that they put in there that we were not in favor of, us, meaning we were going to have to take care of that crossing for the life for the rest of it, and we're not really in the business of doing that. So we think we're close on the agreement. Once we get that agreement, they will fund that railroad. We won't have to pay $600,000 out of our general fund budget, and so. The Jupiter and Gardens crossings were much different than ours in that we have one crossing, and they typically score all of your crossings on a scale. And so like Jupiter has 6 crossings, they had different point scales, and so they were able to spread that out. They paid, I don't know how much they paid, but they were able to make those improvements out of the general fund. They did not have a major arms that they were having to put on their crossings like we have. So we have some major improvements that are being done. That's why we were seeking funding. And so we're happy to give an update anytime. I know we sent an email to them if they now have Doug's contact, and if any point they want an update, Doug can give that to them. And so I think that answers the question and gives you guys an update. We are actively pursuing. We have not been nonstop. We've had several times where we've talked with council or had decision points, but at this point we're at the mercy of this agreement, trying to get it done, and then at that point we'll have the funding to move forward.
Okay, and I know our staff is actively always working on it. I really empathize with what you all are going through since the Bright Line started. If council agrees, would it be at a minimum too much to ask for staff to send periodic updates to that board so they're informed? And
if there's a significant, we hope to have that agreement in front of council next month or the month after. But we can send any kind of update that's needed.
Is council, do you agree sending that board specific some periodic updates on status?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start doing that. All right, thank you, Jeremy. Laurie, any other cards? Nope. Okay, any other public comment on items that are not on tonight's agenda? Okay, moving on to communications from council.
I don't have anything this evening.
Nothing grandiose, just thank you to Public Safety for reminding our village as a whole of the season that we just entered into. Yay! Back to school. Also just note, I appreciate first responders always training, especially like fires always doing dive training and whatnot throughout the summer for our storm season. I know we're in it and we always pray for nothing, but our former fire chief used to always say, and it always stuck with me, don't be scared, be prepared. So I would just appreciate on behalf of the people that we represent, staff, first responders, to just make sure that our village is as best as it can be right now, even utilities, making sure those storm drains are cleared out. And it's not anything on our residents, but sometimes as construction workers, they dump stuff in drains, and we have a lot of construction around. So just make sure we're prepped and ready to go as best we can is all I ask. And that is it.
No comments, thank you, Mayor.
Just one, and I don't want to steal the mayor's thunder because I'm sure she'll talk about it, but I want to say congratulations and thank you to Laurie McWilliams, the clerk staff, for the Palm Beach County League of Cities lunch that we hosted. And congratulations to Mayor Molly, who is also President Molly of the Palm Beach County League of Cities, did a wonderful job, along with the Country Club. They did a fantastic job. And typically when you're the very farthest north municipality like us, or the furthest south like Boca, or out west in the Glades, people don't come. But people say they love Tequesta and they never miss it. So congratulations to the village and what you guys did, pulled it off, Laurie. So thank you.
You did steal my thunder. That's okay. Truly, thank you for the amazing job you guys did. I received so many compliments days after. It was a great celebration. I know, like Vice Mayor said, people always look forward to coming to the meeting when it's in Tequesta. And then along the lines of what Councilmember Brandon said, just thank you to the police department and fire department for the Operation Safe Start. And really, I want to thank our business community for coming out yet another year for our teacher supply drive. We always have so many businesses contribute and donate supplies for our teachers here. So thank you all around. Okay, we're moving on to appointments. Agenda item 14, consider appointment to fill the EAC Environmental Advisory Committee vacancy.
We have two applicants, Drew Henriquez and Joyce Raftery. Drew reached out to me and said he is out of the country and is unable to attend the meeting tonight. I'm not sure if Joyce made it to the meeting. So both applications are in your agenda packet, and this is to fill the vacancy on the Environmental Advisory.
Okay, since neither applicant is here, I usually like to have them come up and speak to us. Council, any thoughts on filling the seat?
I'm thinking.
So I can go first. Looking at the application, I do appreciate both residents applying for the board. It seems Drew has quite the application. Maybe he was more fit for a pension board than an EAC looking at his application. But I appreciate both applying, and we're filling one position, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I would vote that, or make the motion that we approve Drew, I'm just trying to find his last name, I apologize, Drew Henriquez for that position.
Yeah, I've looked at both of their applications. It is very helpful when we get to, hear from them, so this is a little tough, but I would go, just off of Mr. Henriquez. He, based strictly on the amount of time I think he spent on the application, and the background, I would agree with Councilmember French. He would be a great addition to the pension board. I'm gonna go with Mr. Henriquez.
I'm excited we had applicants.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you guys for applying if you're listening. I will second and in agreement with my fellow council.
I too am in agreement with my colleagues. I think it's important to fill this role, to get that back to a complete committee. It's very important in the input that they provide to us. It'd be great to get just one more person with the input to have a full committee. So I'm in support of Mr. Henriquez.
Yeah, just like I said, it's tough without them here. So on paper, I agree with Drew, but if you listen to this, I really agree with Councilmember French. When I first read your resume, I felt pension board. So in the future, if one of those opens, I wouldn't be against you considering applying for a pension board position. Yeah, because you seem to definitely have the expertise for that. So I don't think you actually made a motion yet, did you?
Not
No, okay.
officially.
Can someone make a motion? Or I'm sorry, let me take public comment. Is there any public comment? Nope, okay. Now can I get a motion?
It was Drew, right?
Yes,
Drew
Drew
Henriquez. I move to approve Drew Henriquez for the EAC committee opening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, On to standing reports. Village attorney.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Village manager.
Can I take your 3 minutes? Just a little update, Gulfview Drive, there was some road damage from FBL trucks. We are aware of that. We are working with them to get that repaired. The United Way, presentation, we are gonna have a drop-off location of that at the rec center. After Labor Day, we'll have 2 weeks where we help promote that and have a drop-off location. And then, which most of you guys know by now, but just for public knowledge, after 30 years dating back to 1995, the CWA has been decertified. And so we, won't change anything on our operations, but just for everybody's knowledge, that union is no longer part of the village. And August 13th, which tomorrow, we have a special magistrate. August 13th, which tomorrow, we have the Environmental Advisory Committee. And then August 18th, we have the council budget workshop.
Thank you. Any questions for Jeremy?
No, thank you.
Okay. Next up, police department.
Evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Village Attorney, Village Manager, and Clerk. Before you have the monthly report. Just a couple of highlights I want to bring up. We continue with the civilian firearm safety class. We have another one coming this Saturday. Like I said earlier, we continue to fill them. We did find out that they will be putting another grant in October or November, and we'll be applying once again just because it seems like there's a lot of interest in the classes. So we're going to try to continue that if we can. We have 2 car seat installations since the last time I saw you. We also trained Sergeant Yildiz. He is our new car seat installer as well. He just because of different timing he works, he's Monday through Friday. It helps us out when they come during the day, and we also have other shifts that are covered. The Nautical Club, it was a successful 8 weeks. It wrapped up last week. Kids had a great time, and we're always happy to do that and looking forward to next year's. As you said, yesterday was the first day of school. We will be on WPTV, or we've already been on at 4 o'clock and at 6 o'clock today. We were on WPTV just going over the bus stops and riding along with the program that we offer. So if you don't get a chance to look at it, it came out good. Sergeant Yildiz took the lead on that. And then I want to thank you all, and I know he wants to say thank you. In your consent you had for the donation of K9 Eric. I just want to give you some of the highlights. Eric was with the village serving 7 years. He was part of over 500 kilos of cocaine seized, 25 kilos of fentanyl seized, over 150 pounds of meth, and over $6 million of cash taken under Eric's watch. So Detective Loney does a phenomenal job with Eric, as you all know, and I thank you once again for donating him to Mike. It's family to Mike, and just from our perspective, we're sad to see him retire, but we're happy for him. He's worked very hard, and Scout, just so everyone knows, has been doing a phenomenal job, and Scout has hit the ground running, and as the manager knows, we are waiting for, I believe it's $15 million that has been seized from a cryptocurrency case, with Detective Loney working on that, so we have put in for $15 million. Of course, Village gets hopefully at least 20%. So that'll come back to the police department. So I just want to thank you all for the donation and just seeing the importance of K9 Eric. So I know I'll give the rest of my minute to Detective Loney. Hopefully he doesn't get too emotional.
Well, didn't expect this. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm a little raspy. We really appreciate your support. It's been... Eric had a tough run here, and I appreciate everybody and your support. It was a rough couple years we had together, and this has been the most rewarding of my career. He's loving the retired life. He's fat. He's put on some weight, and I appreciate it. You guys know what I've been through with everything, and it's finally coming to a close. So I thank you, village manager. Thank you, council. I can't thank you guys enough. We worked hard, and with everybody's approvals, and I've traveled the world with Eric. I've done amazing things with that dog, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't expect this. They should have told me. I wouldn't be in a t-shirt. But I really do appreciate everybody. We work really hard. Scout's been working hard, and the crypto seizure, it's probably one of the most rewarding things of my career. And it made Fox News, so it's been a roller coaster. And again, thank you. Sorry about my voice. I'm coming down with a little cold, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
for what
so
do.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric,
Just real quick, if I would have told him, he wouldn't have showed up, so that's why.
There you go.
If anyone has any questions.
Council, any comments or questions?
No questions, but Eric's the OG, and I was a resident here when he first came, and he was kind of like the first canine for Tequesta, so we love him. I'm a little biased.
I got you.
And I do love Scout, and I wouldn't doubt that Scout was hitting the ground running, because he is a pointer breed. So, I mean, there is no sitting with those dogs. So I'm excited to see what he does in his career. I'm very disappointed every time they don't come in, though. I mean,
He actually had him here today, so.
so anytime, okay, so my request is anytime that they're a part of the conversation, if they're open to it and it's not too crowded, they need to come and get the recognition. It's out of fairness to them, so.
Got it.
They don't want to sit in the car.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Go. All right, fire department.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Pretty busy month. We had one of our captains' meetings, which went very, very productively. I also was told it was half the time that it was in the past. No offense to Chief True. So, but the guys enjoyed it. It's all about them, and they are all doing a great job. Specifically, Captain Harris, who's been my right hand, who has also been the point person on the ISO evaluation we have coming up tomorrow. Super important for us. He's done a tremendous amount of work, so has Judy, and everybody has pitched in. So please say a prayer for us for tomorrow, because I'm very nervous. It's my first one. So we had some public outreach stuff. Believe with me, Freedom Run. We had the bike parade, Remembrance Park, raising of the flag. That was an awesome event. I was so happy I was able to attend that. Thank you for inviting us to participate. And we did do a water rescue drill. I believe was it in your neighborhood? Mm-hmm. Yeah. We did reschedule that class. I know you asked about that. The November Swiftwater class is happening again. Captain to be, I hope one day, Lieutenant Dodd at the time, is in a Palm Beach County Officer Development class. Very high speed, very high intensity. It's 2 weeks. He's going to get his butt kicked, for lack of a better term, and he'll be done next Friday. We're going to go out for his graduation, and we may go out one day this week to see how he's doing. But I know he'll do very well and represent us as best he can. We represented at the funeral for a line of duty death for St. Lucie, firefighter Hodge. We had an engine company out there, and there was 3 of us that were in attendance. It was a great send-off for the young man, unfortunately at 26, taken way too early in life. We have some new policies, new emergency evacuation plan. We have the fire investigation policy and the community risk reduction policy are finally 100% done, just in time for ISO to evaluate them. And our lieutenant promotional process is going to be run through a third party. It'll be Palm Beach State College, and we're probably going to have 5 to 6 candidates. I just want complete transparency and no favoritism of any way, shape, or form. So they're going to run the entire program for us, and we're in talks right now to get that done. We have some time before we have any retirements, but I need to get that out and get it moving way in advance, because I do have a retirement about a year from now in one of the officer ranks. We have about 42 applicants for a vacancy for firefighter paramedic, so I should have a nice candidate pool to pick from. And we are still working on 2 different grants, one for medical equipment and one for turnout gear, which is pursuant to the new House bill that Governor DeSantis just passed, and hopefully we can acquire at least one of those, if not both. So, pretty busy month. Any questions from council?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Council?
Ma'am.
No, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Okay, utilities department.
Marjorie Craig, Utilities Department, Utilities Director. And there's a lot here on the page, and you'll be so grateful that I'm not going to go through each one of them. So I want to hit the highlights a little bit. To your point about the being prepared for storms, we are, you may or may not have noticed, but out at Cypress Drive, we did hire someone to clean out that exfiltration trench. So it's actually kind of slow going. Apparently, it hasn't been cleaned out in quite some time. And so there's a lot of mud in there, so we're getting that cleaned out. But we do also clean out everything, every time there's a hurricane, we get notified that a hurricane's fixing to come our direction, or even just a major storm. We're always out there, clean out the catch basins and so forth. We've got many different projects going on. Almost the entire concentration line relocation is almost completely done, with the exception of the sample tap. But there's some pictures in here you can see. We're so glad that that's finally done. Also, the county line road bridge relocation. We believe that the directional bore that they're going to start setting up, everything's going to happen kind of all at once. They're going to start setting up towards the end of August. So, Chief, we probably want to talk about I don't think they're going to close the road, but just in case, we just want to coordinate on anything with that road. We also have issued 2 notice to proceeds, one for Dover Ditch, one for water main number 1. They've done their videoing, and the signs, we put signs together. We're going to put those up next week. They've done their, it should be starting by the end of August, if not before. So we're trying to let everyone know, particularly about water main 1, and that's not the same as what's going on right now out there. Doug's got he's doing the sidewalk work. So, but we'll have signs. We're going to put it out in the water bills. We're going to put it on the weekly notification, hey, safety, and on the website. So with that, you've got the dashboard, and it shows that we're still trending up, collecting revenue, which is always a good thing for these projects especially, and your CIP timeline. So what we are looking to do, and we met with the manager just to kind of discuss it, in ClearGov, there's also a module called projects. And so if you go to projects affecting the village, projects around village, into the utilities projects, and if you kind of dig down in there, you'll see there's a page that opens up, and and I'll bring you some screenshots next time, but it'll show the little summary of the project, the timeline, and project updates. So we're kind of playing with that to see if we can make sure that notifications go out if someone signs up. It's just another way to provide that outreach, to make sure people know what's going on. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Marjorie. Council, any comments or questions?
No.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the regular agenda under old business, agenda item 19, ordinance number, we have a visitor. Do you want to? Especially for Councilmember Brandon.
Yeah, he needs to come in and get his recognition.
Yes,
Permission to approach.
Hey! It's a scout.
So this is Scout. He's a German wire hair pointer. He just turned 2.
You know he loves it. Oh.
Hey, what's up?
How's that puppy?
I thought we were getting him a seat. Did you not want to get a chair? Hey, Scout. Oh my God. You're doing a good job.
He just got groomed, so his mustache and his beard is done, so he's
I can't believe
Impressive
it's 2
mustache.
already.
2 and he put on 15 pounds.
It's a big boy.
Just like his dad.
So really quick, was he a part of that crypto?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so good job, Scout.
Crypto.
So now that I'm not on the spot, I can actually talk.
Good job.
So Scout is assigned with me part-time to the PDA task force. And as you can see, super playful. So we got him from Belgium. He flew over in a crate, and then we were right at the K-9 school.
Yay.
So the gist of this, he also is for narcotics and for tracking. So for tracking, he can find missing and elderly adults and kids as well. Kids with got the nigga lost from a school, we can track them by STEM.
Awesome.
So we do a lot of training with the local agencies, which are Chad, Bloodhound, and Gardens, and North Mark County. really appreciate the village, you guys supporting us, supporting me and my mission down in DEA as well as in Tequesta. As you can see.
Right at home.
So again, council, thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Absolutely.
A lot better now that I'm not on the spot by the chiefs.
Keep up the good work, Scout.
Thank you. So if you guys see these around, Scout's super friendly, so if you guys want to come say hi, please. It's gonna be around.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Detective.
Whoa.
Oh, he's so cute.
Good luck, Jay.
Yeah, it's a tough act to follow.
Have a dog? Did you bring it? All right, so we are on agenda item 19, ordinance number 5-25, second reading of a voluntary annexation of a property off Riverside.
That's a tough act to follow. I will do my best. Ordinance 0525, an ordinance of the Village Council of Village of Tequesta, Florida, providing for the voluntary annexation of additional territory owned by Robert and Amy Swan to be included within the village boundaries in accordance with Article 8, Section 2C of the Constitution of the State of Florida, Section 171044 Florida statutes as amended, and Section 4.02 of the Village of Tequesta Charter, redefining boundaries of the Village of Tequesta to include all of said real property, directing the village manager to do all things necessary to effectuate this annexation, directing the village clerk to file a copy of this ordinance with the clerk of the circuit court in Palm Beach County, chief administrative officer of Palm Beach County, and with the Department of State within 7 days after adoption, providing conflicts clause, severability clause, effective date, and for other purposes.
Okay,
Good evening, Jay Hupsch, Community Development Director. So second reading, this past 5-0 on first reading. The Swans who are voluntarily annexing are not able to make it tonight, but they do really want to come out, so they will be here at the next council meeting to just kind of introduce themselves. And that's really all I have. Nothing new to add.
any comments or questions?
comments.
Nothing
No
new since last
questions.
time.
No, I just want to thank the property owner for voluntarily annexing their property, and I know that's the effort that council and the village has been working on well before my time, I think even well before Councilmember Brandon's time, so it's a big deal for us to have that. Is there any public comment cards? Any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
On to new business, agenda item 20, special exception use 01-25 for a fast food restaurant with a mobile drive-through.
And Mayor, if I may, actually, this agenda item number 20 and the agenda item immediately following agenda item 21 are both quasi-judicial proceedings. With your permission, I can take care of the swearing in, ex parte disclosures, and do preliminary comments at this time. Thank you. If you are going to be speaking to the village council on either agenda item 20 or 21, the special exception use and the site plan modification for 150 Tequesta Drive, these are both quasi-judicial proceedings. Your testimony needs to be under oath, so I need to swear you in. I'll swear everybody in together. If you'll all please stand, raise your right hands. If you're going to be testifying, each of you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony to the village council on these items will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. You can all have a seat. I need to come back to the council. If any of you have had undertaken any ex parte activities, including any discussions with staff or applicants or anybody else, done any site visits, consulted with any third-party experts, or done anything like a site visit, while those activities are permissible, they do need to be disclosed on the record at this time in order to remove any presumption of prejudice from having done those activities.
None.
Nothing specific other than driving by the CVS and being kind of on the property.
None.
None. You mentioned discussions. I've had a discussion with the village manager. That's it. None with the applicant.
Okay.
I've had discussions with Jay and Jeremy, and I've also visited the site.
Thank you. And then just before we begin, I just want to remind the council, as quasi-judicial proceedings, your role is to apply the evidence that's in the record at tonight's hearing against criteria in our code, which are part of the applications, and make a decision as to whether or not the applicant has met, by evidence, met their burden to establish those criteria. When we get to the point in both agenda items where a motion is going to be made, I would just ask, if it's a motion to approve, that means that the maker of the motion believes all the criteria have been met by evidence. However, if there's a motion to deny, my request would be that the maker of the motion identify the criteria that you believe has not been met. That way, the record will be clear and I can prepare the appropriate order that memorializes the denial. So with those comments and that procedure on the record, we can proceed with the agenda items.
All right, Jay, now the floor is yours.
Thank you. Jay Hupsch, Community Development Director, presenting a special exception use and a site plan modification. I've got them in one presentation. I think the applicant does too, but of course you'll have to make your motion separately. Property is located at the southwest corner of Tequesta Drive in US 1. It's in the MU Mixed Use Zoning District. It's in our US 1 zoning overlay. It's a 6,099 square foot former banking facility that was constructed in 2004, but it's been vacant since 2022. So here's the current site. Has 3 drive-through lanes, as you can see. Has the Mediterranean architecture. Here's your proposed elevation. This is looking from the corner of US 1 and Tequesta Drive. So the drive-through that's going to be proposed is on the other side of the building here. So this is a conceptual elevation that was shown to you all in June of 2024, so you can really see how the architecture has evolved. I think the council was not in love with this original architecture, and so we think we work with the applicant to make it much nicer, just again for reference. So this project needs a special exception because it's considered a fast food restaurant, which are required in the MU zoning district. In recent years, the village council used to take special exceptions to the council before the site plan application. It's kind of a cumbersome process. They'd have to get the special exception and then come back, go through the development review process and come back a second time. So we've done kind of what most other cities have done and done them together. We also did this at 358 Cypress in early 2025. And I've got an example here that this is how it was done in 1996. So we're just streamlining things and doing them together. But of note, the Planning and Zoning Board does not look at special exceptions. We are going to change that in the code when we do our code update soon. So they only looked at the site plan here. They did not look at the use of the property. In terms of the zoning overlay, as you know, as was talked about at the last workshop and tonight, Senate Bill 180 has rendered the more restrictive aspects of the zoning overlay null until October 1, 2027. However, that's not really even in play because this application was actually submitted the day that the zoning overlay was adopted. So it's vested to what the code was at the time it was submitted. So the overlay does not apply for that reason and not just from Senate Bill 180. The real major implication, though, if the zoning overlay was in place, the real implication is that they would have had to get a special exception for the formula restaurant criteria that we created, but there's really no other real things that would be impacted. So the civic open space would not be mandatory because for people that had to provide civic open space, you have to add 20% of gross floor area to the site. They're not adding any gross floor area, so if the overlay was in place, they would not have technically had to provide civic open space. Here's the site. I know the applicant has a much better graphic of what the site looks like. As you can see, the fast food, it's going to be a Chipotle. There's going to be what's called a Chipotle lane on the south side, and it's kind of like a walk up, drive up. You pre-order, but it's not like your typical drive-through where you order at a menu board. You order in advance on an online app. I know Troy Holloway will provide more detail on that. In terms of traffic, the traffic study they provided has the amount of trips that were originally generated by the old use, which was the drive-in bank, and then it has the total uses of the new project. So if you look at the bottom line, that's the net new trips generated from this use above what the bank use was. So 774 total daily trips. 375 of those are pass by. Those would be trips that are just they're going by anyways. It's not new traffic technically created. There would be 399 new trips, and then there would be 43 AM peak hour trips, and actually a reduction of 7-hour PM peak hour trips. That's because drive-in banks 4 to 5, 4 to 6 is their peak hour. So that kind of explains that. The applicant did get a approval from Palm Beach County's Transportation Department, traffic performance standards approval on March 6th. So that shows that it meets the county's concurrency transportation standards. In terms of parking, by code, they're required to provide 77 spaces. They're providing 79, so 2 extra spaces, but they did provide a shared parking study that shows that their actual parking demand should only be about 62 spaces. And that's because the office use and the fast food use kind of have some synergy, right? The medical office has 100% parking demand from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., but 10% from 6 p.m. to midnight. And then, of course, during lunch hour, when the Chipotle would kind of have some peak use, there would also be probably less utilization of the medical office that's proposed. But again, not necessary because they technically are meeting code, but they did provide that just to show that the actual parking demand will only be about 62 spaces. So in terms of special exception review criteria, there are 6 different criteria here. It's a permitted special exception use. It's located and operated so that public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. It will not cause substantial injury to the value of other property. It's compatible with adjoining development. There's adequate landscaping and screening, adequate off-street parking and loading, and ingress and egress is designed to cause minimum interference with traffic on abutting streets. There's an additional 9 other criteria that have to be met, and council has to find that it meets these before it would approve the project. So compliance with the comp plan, again, ingress, egress, off-street parking, nuisance, utilities, screening, buffering, compatibility, and whether it's kind of in scale with the neighborhood. That is it for the special exception. I will let Troy do his presentation, and if the special exception goes through, I've got some other stuff to present on the site plan when he's done. And Troy Holloway from 2GHL will be presenting.
Good evening. For the record, Troy Holloway with 2GHO. I've also got with me here tonight Will Crowden. He's also with Chipotle, in case any kind of general questions come up regarding Chipotle as well. Hopefully, this is the last time you have to see me tonight on this parcel. I know we've been here, I think, the last year and a half. I think we first came through with a Wawa. We've looked at Trader Joe's, we've looked at banks, and then we ended up with the conceptual about 14 months ago. We came through with the conceptual, so hopefully we've gotten everything worked out. We've worked a lot with your staff on the architecture and a lot of the site plan to get to where we are today. We're here tonight requesting a site plan and special exception approval for the redevelopment of the existing and vacant 6,099 square foot building. It currently has 3 existing drive-through lanes on a 1.4 acre property, which is located there at 150 Tequesta Drive, which is the old Bank of America site. Property is currently zoned a mixed-use district within the recently adopted US Highway 1 overlay. Our redevelopment proposal consists of 3,499 square foot medical office use and a 2,600 square foot fast food restaurant with outdoor seating. The tenants do include Chipotle and the Heartland Dental. Obviously, you guys know where this site is, southwest corner there, Tequesta Drive and US Highway 1. Surrounded by a lot of miscellaneous commercial uses. To the east side there, US 1, we've got the commercial plaza. To the south, abutting the property line there, we have the CVS. To the west, we've got Paradise Park, an existing 3-story commercial mixed-use building. On the north side of Tequesta Drive there, we've got a couple of office buildings, a 1 and a 3-story office, as well as the existing Shell gas station on the corner. This is the proposed site plan. The majority of it is an existing site. We're not doing a whole lot to the property itself. The yellow there, that's the existing drive-through lane, 3 large drive-throughs, look like 3 cavernous drive-throughs. That will be removed from the building. There's currently about 4 or 5 existing vehicular entries and exit points to the property. Those will all remain and stay as they are today. We're going to be adding some angled parking on the south side, which we can do with the removal of that drive-through, large structure there. And these are the uses within the building. On the north side would be the Heartland Dental, taking the majority of the building, and then Chipotle would be located on the south side, where we'd have the drive-through and the Chipotle pickup window as well.
Out in front of Chipotle, we'll have some outdoor seating. And also we've got the covered arcade on the building which would remain. Actually, I think it gets a little bit larger. That'll remain on the building as well. On the corner, we've got the existing Tequesta monument sign, which would remain as it is. Here in the back on the west property line, we've got some shared reciprocal shared parking spaces, part of a shared parking easement. Those will remain as they have been since the last 20 years. So those will stay as well. As far as landscaping, we have proposed a full renovation of all of the understory. That'll all be removed. It's all very old, at least 20 years old. And most of the trees and palms will be removed and replaced. We will keep pretty much a lot of the gumbo limbos, which are nice, and a lot of the oaks. But some of the trees just aren't, they're just old and haven't done so well. Some of the site data, again, it's 1.4 acres. The building area, the current building is 6,099 square feet. We're not adding or reducing any square footage to the building. The outdoor seating would consist of 24 seats. We have some tables and umbrellas, which would add to that. The existing open space is currently 26.5%. We're actually increasing that to 28.7% open space. And 25% is the minimum required by your code. As Jay had mentioned, the code parking required is 77 spaces. The shared parking is 62. We're providing 79, so we exceed both of those. The reduction in building lot coverage is 23.2%, so we are reducing that building lot coverage with the removal of the drive-throughs. At our PZB meeting at the end, was brought up about our freestanding sign. In this little snippet here, this is the front of the property on US Highway 1. This is our proposed sign location. Your code has a minimum setback of 10 feet from the property line. And in this particular location, the sidewalk is actually not on the property line. It sits about 9 feet off. So with our proposed location there, we're about 19 feet off of the back of walk. The existing sign that's out there is about 1.5 feet from the property line, and so about 10.5 feet from the back of walk. This is the sign that we had previously gone in with and went to PZB with, which is a 16-foot overall height, which your code does allow for. So we have, per their request, we have dropped the sign 25% reduction down to a 12-foot height. So this is what we are currently proposing. We've added some architectural features of the sign. On the top, we've got the decorative aluminum grille, which is a feature on the proposed architecture. We've got some stucco wood siding look on the bottom, which is also part of the architecture. And the owner just asked that we could continue to keep the 60-foot square foot sign face, which is the maximum allowable by code. And here what we've done, this is the view standing in the middle of US Highway 1, looking south. As you can see, that's the existing approximately 7-foot sign that was for the bank. And this is the proposed sign. We just wanted to show this to show that it really is not, it doesn't look that large from US 1, and it kind of needs to be a little larger because there is so much going on out there today. We've got the royal palms, which will be replaced, but they'll still be there. We got light poles, we got street signage, and the view coming from the north is actually not any better. You don't really see it until you hit the turn lane because you can see those palm trees in the median, so you don't have a whole lot of time to see the sign even coming from the south as well. I think I'd shown you some of these in the pre-app about 14 months ago, but this is some Chipotle facts on the drive-through. It does allow for customers to pick up an order without having to park their vehicle and walk into the restaurant. The customers cannot place an order at the menu board or pickup window. There is no menu board, so they definitely can't do that. The pickup window is only available to those customers who have placed a prior order via their Chipotle app or through the Chipotle website. Payment of the order is also made through that app or the website. They can't pay at the window. If the order isn't ready when they arrive, or they arrive early, they're asked to park and the food will be brought out to them. They've done some studies on some higher volume stores, so these last two things I think are probably about double what this store probably would have. But on the higher volume stores, they had shown the average of only 2 customers in a lane at a time in the drive-through, and an average time at the window is about 1 minute, 13 seconds. And again, these were some high volume stores like Columbus, Ohio, I think Los Angeles, and some high volume locations.
This is the architecture. The top, of course, is the building you recognize, the existing building. The bottom is the proposed elevation. This is the east elevation facing US 1. The architecture maintains the covered arcade, as I mentioned. It removes some of the large, bulky drive-through structure. As you can see, those very huge tunnels there on the left. It removes the dated Spanish Mediterranean style and finishes on the building. Proposes a light, airy coastal architectural style, reduces blank walls, and increases window openings. It also utilizes light, soft, or toned colors of silver, Aberdeen green, and some muted whites. Again, this is the top is the east elevation, the bottom is the rear elevation facing west. Some of the features are the silver standing seam metal roof. That is the aluminum decorative screening that we've also mimicked onto the freestanding sign. They got some brackets and exposed rafter tails throughout the building, some louvered shutters all the way around the structure, decorative lighting, and also the stuccoed horizontal siding look, which is also all around the building. And we've also mimicked onto the freestanding sign. These are backwards, I apologize. The top is not north, it's actually the south side. That's the drive-through side of the building on the top. And the bottom is the north elevation, which will be facing Tequesta Drive. As you can see, the amount of windows, so on the south, north, and east side is the building is full of windows. This is the 3D rendering. Again, this is just the east elevation there on the left side and the north elevation on the right. You can see the amount of windows and all the detail. They've really done it. The architects, I think, did a great job. Again, with your staff's help. I mean, it didn't look like this in the beginning. It took a few renditions and actually a whole new architect to get to this point. And the arcade in the front really makes it nice. I think it looks great. In conclusion, the project does adhere to all development regulations of your mixed-use zoning district. The redevelopment of this existing site does strive to meet as many of the proposed US Highway 1 overlay requirements as we could. The redeveloped architectural style is in conformance with the architectural design guidelines of the Commercial Corridor Master Plan. We are requesting no variances as the project does meet all special exception and site plan review criteria and is compliant with all your zoning codes and comp plan requirements. As I mentioned, that all old, overgrown, existing landscaping will be removed and completely refurbished, exceeding your code. And lastly, this redevelopment will place an active, vibrant use in a vacant structure on a main corridor, once again revitalizing this prominent gateway parcel within the village and will set a standard for other parcels to follow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. All right, so I think the first item we are going to consider is a special exception. Agenda item 20. And Jay, can you come up to the podium, please? I want to be clear so everyone's on the same page. We're specifically approving or denying the fast food use. If there's questions or comments on the mobile drive-through lane, is that to be saved for the site plan application, or would that apply to the special exception?
That would be part of the use. I mean, if there are concerns about traffic or impacts on ingress and egress on other properties, I think that's more of a use question than a site plan question. And if
Okay, I just want to put that on record because I know now that we have done them together, sometimes we get convoluted what we can talk about on which application. So thank you for confirming that, and council, I'll open the floor.
So can you just repeat, so this item, we're commenting on, what are we not commenting on?
Site plan.
Site plan.
Yeah, so no site plan comments. We're strictly going to address a special exception use
Okay.
for the fast food. And if anyone has comments on the mobile lane, drive-up lane, that we could bring it up with this application, not,
Okay.
we don't have to wait for the site
But as
plan.
far as if we wanted to comment on the overall aesthetic design of the building, is that, we're not even going there? or-
We'll wait for agenda item
Okay,
21.
fair enough. So this is just the Chipotle lane? Okay.
And the fast food use.
And the fast food use. Okay. So thank you, Troy. Appreciate it. In the past, I was vocal about the use and just given it's the gateway like we addressed. And it's not because I don't like Chipotle. I actually love Chipotle. It's just, it's the whole not in my backyard kind of argument but the more I've thought about this, I think we all would have loved to have seen, make it maybe a local, more unique use here. But the fact is, this property sat for 3 years and nothing's happened. No one's tried to do anything unique with it. And so, with that thought in mind, and the fact that it's not a Wawa. And I have to point out, it's interesting, we never have council meetings on Tuesday, and today's Taco Tuesday. So that's, just got to point that out there. But yeah, I, as far as I can tell, all the special exception criteria, the review criteria has been met. So I don't have any objections to the special exception. I do like, I've never been to a Chipotle that has a Chipotlane. I think it's cool. I think there's probably a little bit of misinformation out, which happens with residents. They hear drive-through and they're assuming this like stacked drive-through. That is not what this is. I'm confident of that. So all in all, I don't really have any objections to it. I'll comment on the design on the next item, but again, the review criteria has been met as far as I can tell, so I have no objections.
Okay, let me keep this organized. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Because I know we go down this road. All right, sticking to what this item specifically is for. I do have concerns on behalf of some residents. I feel like I'm getting more higher percentage concerns for it than the other percentage is lower who would want a Chipotle. Now, taking out the name Chipotle, part of what we look at when we have these things come to us is, does it fit? And unfortunately, I feel like we have so much Mexican food everywhere, and it's just such an easy food to make. I don't know if we need more of it. So I'm not really saying no to fast food, but I think for me right this split second, before I hear public comment and my fellow council members' thoughts, do we need this type of fast food? There's so many options out there these days, so many options, right? And so much farm to table and creative things. And I don't want to say another company's name because I really don't personally like them, but I know they're popular and I think it'd be more fitting. So I'm kind of torn between, does this even fit in Tequesta? And once it's here, this use, it's here. And then let's say it doesn't survive, and then the next person comes in, and let's say it's not even as good as Chipotle. I have to consider those things for future, because it's not always us sitting up here either, and the residents like to stick around. We don't have a ton of movement. People who are selling their houses tend to be retirees, or unfortunately they passed away and the family is selling the house. So I consider residents stick. When they move here, they're here and they're dedicated. So I'm gonna listen. I'm really not fully decided yet. I would like to hear full circle, and I'll pass the torch to Mr. French.
Thank you. First, I need to make correction. I did speak with staff previously on this item, and I don't know if we need to go back through or if it's just on record. I did speak with staff, so I apologize for that mistake. On the special exemption, I do not believe it meets the criteria of item number 8, whether the change is in scale with the neighborhood. So I'm a no on the special exemption for this proposal.
Thank you to the applicant and for coming back again. A question for Jay, perhaps. I want to make sure I'm clear again in basic terms. This special use exception, right? Is this because it's a fast food, or because it's the pickup lane, or is it because under the existing zoning, which overlays don't even come into play?
Yeah,
for
our
two
definition.
reasons.
Yeah, our definition of fast food is right here. So, it's generally for the drive-through lane or the takeaway lane.
So it's a permitted use with a special use exception.
Correct. If they didn't have the fast food lane, it would be a permitted use.
It would be. So, all right. So without that, we wouldn't be having this discussion. So if there was no pickup lane, and I think that definition is out to be debated. The reason I ask is that if there was no pickup lane, would just be an approval by right. So we wouldn't be, and then it's an approval by right, if we deny that approval by right, what is the recourse for the applicant, and what position is the village potentially put in if we deny an approval by right?
Keith and I are both rereading this.
I'm looking up the zoning code right now myself, so. Good question.
Yeah, so this is off the top of my head, but restaurant takeaway is a permitted use in the MU district. So that'd be like 3 natives, right? Which is more of you go up, there's a preset menu, you take it away. You're generally, there are some seats there, but you're generally, taking it to go. I believe it would qualify as that. But the way that this is written. So the definitions do not specifically refer to drive-through, which is where it gets tricky. So I might need Keith to opine on this.
Yeah, and is it semantics, drive-through, walk up, pick up? Just trying to determine if, what's the purpose of what can we approve or what can we not approve?
Sure.
That's your special exception. Well, they have to.
We're looking at the code. Thank you for your patience.
I should have come prepared for this question. I apologize.
It's, hearing all the presentations, this is what came to me.
I mean, it has to have all of those things. Plus meet special exception.
Keith, are you looking up definitions?
Yeah, so the code for the mixed-use zoning district, a fast food restaurant has to obtain a special exception. The code has 4 elements for the drive-up window that have to be met, plus all the special exception criteria that any special exception use has to meet, which were gone through in the presentation. So it's both. It's
So they both need to be approved.
the
The use as a fast food restaurant.
drive-up
plus the-
window the code has stacking lane requirements, bypass lane requirements, US 1 frontage. I don't think there's any question this has US 1 frontage. And then a landscape buffer requirement. So those things have to be met, as well as the criteria that were discussed during the presentation for a general fast food restaurant, which is up on the screen right now, is the definition for that.
So I'm confused if we have, for the walk-up or the drive-up or whatever it's called, the window, there are exceptions to be met or conditions to be met, but yet we can't talk about that because isn't that site plan?
No, so, if you don't mind, so the way I interpret it when I was reviewing this, over the weekend was, this is coming before us because it's fast food. Whether it had a drive-through or not, it had to come before us because it's listed as fast food. So that's why I brought up, there is a drive-through component on this. Is this something that we address on the special exception or site plan? And both parties say special exception, and it does have, under that special exception use, it has criteria for a drive-up window with stacking and how it should be marked and designed and whatnot.
So you're saying fast food triggered the special exception that we're speaking
That's
on
how
now?
I'm reading it.
Fast food restaurant triggers the special exception in this zoning district. In this case, you also have the drive-up window, which has 4 additional criteria in the code that have to be met. It talks about stacking, the bypass lane, the US 1 frontage, and the landscape buffer.
And Keith, I think
You have both things.
And I think what Mr. Sartory was saying was, if the drive-through wasn't there, would they still need the special exception?
Still need the special exception, but the drive-through criteria would be irrelevant.
Okay. But in this case, there is a pickup window or a drive-through, and we, based on, wasn't part of the presentation, I don't think, so those 4 things, we assumedly would be met. Landscape, I think.
Yep.
Would be met, all that. Thank you for somewhat clarifying that. the ingress egress. Here's my concern, and it falls under number 2 of the review. Is it designed, located, and proposed to be operated so that the public health, safety, welfare, and morals? I'm focused more on the safety and perhaps the welfare. Next door is the CVS, who's got a drive-through that goes east to west. This will come around the building. Well, they'll come in off of US 1, which can cause some problems if it's going to be a very successful, busy restaurant. We got backing up coming. They're going to be U-turning coming north to either U-turn to get in off of US 1, then or to turn left, cut in through Italiano, go down Main Street. So we've got CVS going one way. We've got the people going around the building causing what appears to be a little bit of chaos. The pickup window, if it's not ready, they're going to drive around or go park, and it's going to be walked out to somebody, which is not your typical drive-through. Typically in a drive-through, they just, unfortunately, most places just back up. And don't forget, we have the Harvey School just to the immediate west of that, which is a pickup lane. I don't know where the pickup lane comes in, but I can see the convergence of CVS, people trying to leave or enter the southwest corner of this subject parcel, the Harvey School lane be either coming east or going south on the side of the building, and there's a convergence there. People walking across to the pickup lane because they would drive around the building, still not there. They would park at a diagonal facing US 1. That's what it looked like. And an employee somebody's gonna have to walk across that to do that. And I know that studies have shown only 2 people will be stacked up and average wait time's 1:13. But I have a big concern with the safety under number 2 for just that parking. And Troy, can you address that or?
Yes, actually, that's the traffic flow that's proposed is exactly the way it operates the last 20 years. I mean, it's all one way from west to east on the south side of the building with the 3 drive-through lanes. We only have the 1 plus a pass-through lane. That's the way it is. It's exactly that laid out. And the crosswalk we're showing is in the same location that it is today.
Yeah, I don't know if the Harvey School was there when it was an operating bank. So it was there?
Yeah.
When the Harvey School moved to the current location or
I
when
don't
they
think
were
she
on
was
Tequesta
as
Drive?
large, but it was there.
Okay,
Over the
and,
years, we've extended her floor space.
yeah, and I believe they also utilize one of the vacant parcels on Paradise Park, as we call it, for their green space and their PE. So I have concern about that. So
Yeah,
I'm just
sure.
saying, I've got a concern with that.
Hopefully we'll have less traffic there with only one small
And then number 6 on the review criteria, adequate off-street parking is nothing, ingress, and it's my same comments. The ingress egress, without interference with traffic on abutting streets. I think people U-turning to get in is gonna cause a problem. This is not a Chick-fil-A, so we're not gonna have queues wrapped around the building. But I have concerns, I'm not saying no, but I have huge concerns with 2 and 6. And a comment was made before, a prior presentation was Wawa. And I made the comment then, and I'm saying it now, welcome to Tequesta, here's 12 lanes of gasoline. This is, I think, the entrance to our city. And I feel that we're welcome to Tequesta, and as much as we landscape it, we still got a Chipotle at the entrance to a city that was founded in 1957 and really hasn't thrived on fast food formula restaurants. So I'm struggling with this because the use, the layout, the pickup window, and just the overall compatibility and public outcry. Again, while I've received probably 12, 13 communications via text, and of which I've all put in the public record for the record, that no one's texted me and saying, God, thank God we're getting a fast food restaurant. And I'm elected, I feel my job is to listen to my constituents, and I have not, it's been 14-0. It doesn't mean there's not another 6,100 people that think it's the greatest thing that we're getting that. But I have some concerns. I'm really concerned with the ingress, egress, and the safety is my biggest hangup at this moment. So.
The ingress, egress, I mean, I've drove around it a couple times myself, understanding it's vacant. There were some cars parked in that parking lot, which I'm assuming are part of the shared parking agreement, maybe from the building behind them to the west. But I know in the backup we have in the traffic study, there was not FDOT approval for US 1, can you explain why FDOT, because that would maybe bring up some of the concerns you have with U-turns and ingress egress off of that. Your concern was the US 1 entrance.
Yeah, the first 3 or 4 times, if somebody's gonna go, before they realize they can turn on Tequesta Drive, but then they're gonna wrap around the other building to get into that, and then they're immediately beginning to go in the face of people leaving the CVS. I just have concerns with the traffic flow.
So
And the fact it's right where it's located within our village.
I know the county said it meant their standards, but why does FDOT not review it since it's coming off US 1 as well?
Good question. Yeah, so because it's an existing curb cut and they're not adding a new curb cut, then it doesn't trigger an FDOT review.
So even though there's a change of use with the property, they don't care.
Correct.
And with 400 additional new trips, net new trips, that doesn't trigger anything. Okay.
And then with the special exception I understand it's for the fast food restaurant, but is that just for the Chipotle, or if it ends up being a different fast food restaurant, can they put anything in because we approved a fast food restaurant, or would they have to come back for another restaurant if it were to change?
So you're approving or denying the use, not the brand. So whether it's Chipotle or any other fast food restaurant that could use the same configuration that's been presented to you tonight, it doesn't matter. It's the use, not the brand. So if you approved the use as presented with the traffic and the buffering and everything, the way it's been presented, and Chipotle came out and someone else came in under the exact same configuration, that would be permissible.
We have the 90-day clause, right? So they'd have to come in within 90 days of that because it's the nonconformity, correct?
Yes.
What?
So if the same exact use came in within 90 days of let's say you approved the fast food restaurant now, if the other one opened within 90 days of that one closing, they would be vested in and grandfathered in. But if it goes past the 90 days, they'd have to come back in for use by exception.
And that's for our current code, not the
That's
overlay.
current code. That's non-conforming code. That's pretty standard in most cities.
Right, so in that example, you would presume that Chipotle comes in, gets approved, opens, operates, closes. Somebody else comes in within the 90 days, they could pick up the ball and run with it. If it's more than that, then it would expire and they'd have to come back for another approval for the special exception.
Could a condition of approval be added that if it's anything other than a Chipotle, they have to come back?
I don't think you can condition it on the brand.
Okay.
It's the use, it's not the brand.
But what if they came in and they wanted to have a drive-through, but a significantly modified drive-through that is not?
So that would be different if it's different and
McDonald's
it
or
affects
something.
the special exception criteria, which in this case, to drive up, part of the use has 4 specific code sections
It would
that
still
have
have
to
to
be
meet that.
addressed. So if there's a change, that would have to be brought back and you would have to make a determination that the change still complies with the code.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. And I know that I'm kind of hung up on the mobile, the drive-through line, because I know that, to me, it is, you have 2 lanes of ongoing traffic. There's really not a delineated, there's a walkway to the east, but, if cars are parked more, west of that, like, I am, and people walk up to the window, or like you said, the staff is walking out, I have some concerns with safety there. I guess, and I read the 100-page Chipotle Lane, whatever report it was, but what's the huge benefit, or is there a huge loss if that drive-through mobile pickup lane goes away?
I think it's.
Can you come to the podium and just state your name?
Hi, Will Crowd, real estate manager for Chipotle Mexican Grill. Thanks for letting us be before you tonight, and appreciate the time. So operationally, it's what our leadership wants. It's what our guests like to have, instead of similar to a Starbucks or another fast feeder. Maybe somebody with a car load of family or, they just don't have time to come in. So it's operationally what we would prefer. I could take it back to our leadership, though, if it's something that the council has an issue with, and see if we might be able to proceed forward without it here, if that's a big deal for the residents, the community, and the council.
Okay, thank you for commenting
thank
on
you.
that. Because maybe there could be some improvements with the traffic flow if that's gone. I know, because I know with Starbucks, they did a landscape buffer to buffer that lane, and then also just from aesthetic point to kind of hide it.
Sure.
When I was talking to Jay, it looks like that's a striped, just like a striped line between the drive aisle lane.
Yeah, perhaps an actual curb could be added. Again, I'm not a.
But I don't know, because I don't know if fire will have the required
Right.
space they need.
And
So
and
there's
the
really
truck
nothing
turn
to do
radiuses
there
and
with a
things like
buffer
that.
either for safety. Because of, I think the overall dimension, because I think fire needs 20 feet, 20 feet. So we're kind of restricted there with that as well. So I'd be more inclined to okay this without the mobile lane. Just so I know we're trying to get away from that.
Sure.
And I know, even since this meeting, we've received some emails of people not in favor of Chipotle. I've talked to a lot of people that are in favor of Chipotle. So for me, I'm really split on that aspect.
But we appreciate the opportunity nonetheless, and we know we may not be for everybody, but we really like to embed ourselves in the community. We will probably create about 60 jobs here with this restaurant, and we like to hire from within a community, and we would be proud to be a part of your town. And again, I appreciate the time, and like I said, if it came down to it's not my ultimate decision, but happy to take it back to my leadership on the Chipotle lane, and if that were to be disintegrated, if we would still proceed. My guess is probably yes, but I can't go on the record officially to say that because it's not my decision.
Okay, and then if we, in my opinion, if we were to get rid of that and say Chipotle doesn't come in and someone else were to, we kind of mitigate, I think, that risk of having like a more intense drive-through down the road. I mean, someone could always remodel the building, but then again, that would come to us versus someone just be able to kind of try and use what's there. So again, maybe a way to mitigate those concerns in the future too, if something else were to go on that space. And then the parking, I don't know if is the parking supposed to be addressed with this? Or I know there's the criteria that you kind of brought up with the parking and ingress, egress, but any parking concerns should be with the site plan modification.
Should be the site plan.
Got it. Okay, I will take, council, any other comments or questions?
I'll make my final comments after public comment.
Okay. Is there any public comment cards tonight, Laurie? Nope, any public comment? We don't have any public comment, so
Not in person,
Councilmember
but
Brandon?
I would like to say for the record, I know many of us have gotten texts, calls, emails, other forms of communications. And again, for me, it's mixed, but when I measure what I've heard, it's heavier percentage on one side. After listening and looking at the map, and I am a family, I like drive-throughs for obvious reasons. I've been in the position where I've had a baby sleeping, and it was nice to be able to go through. I try to look at every angle. I've been in every situation. But again, I'm looking at our village, and I say village on purpose. Even Starbucks has the more modern, okay, so when I'm looking at your use, the more modern way of these businesses doing it is not even a pickup window anymore. So I almost, after listening, don't think you even need that. You could just do the mobile app, because you're already really focusing on the mobile app, online orders, have them park. I feel like that is safer than having parking plus pulling up, then having them go park because you're not ready yet, not you, but the food. I think you should just eliminate that altogether and just stick to mobile ordering and having an employee deliver it so you have less people coming and going. I'm also an advocate for if you don't have a baby or it's not downpouring, send your teenager in there. Make them go in there and do some work and pick up their stuff. So that's where I'm kind of sitting right now is I don't think we need the window or the drive-through. I think we should just eliminate that. Plus, for me, long-term, if Chipotle doesn't make it, what comes in there next? And I think that safeguards the village as a whole. So that's where I'm sitting after listening.
And I want to bring up what Councilmember Painter mentioned when he started off kicked off the conversation. That property has been sitting vacant for a long time, and it looks awful. And in my opinion, the next agenda item that we're discussing is a beautiful building that they went out of their way to make nice and fit in Tequesta. We had a Wawa come here, which was a hard no from everyone, I believe, up here. And then we've had even local businesses, existing local businesses come with conceptuals, and they kind of got some negative feedback from some of council. So, you know, I'm always kind of like, well, what's next? You know, we could approve or deny this, and if it were to get denied, like, what's the next best option? So I feel like you're always at that risk, and there's been several things at the property already, and everything I've seen on the next agenda item, it could be a beautiful improvement there. I would really like to see that mobile window go away and have no drive-through. I think maybe they could rearrange it, and it could mitigate some of the circulation concerns and safety concerns there. Could we approve it with a condition of approval to remove that window?
I think that's an excessive condition of approval, but you could ask the applicant what their position is on revising their plan to do that, but I don't think that you can impose that condition and force that. You can approve it as presented, but that's what's presented at the moment, so.
That's what I was gonna ask, if maybe it would help, if we, they'd take it back to their, the higher ups, and they talk about whether the drive-through is definitely needed or not needed. Would it, maybe we could postpone it, look at that, and if they agree to that, we could look at the site plan without the drive-through and bring it back. It sounds like there's kind of mixed use or mixed concern with the use itself, but, if we could take a look at the plan without the pickup window and bring it back in front of you.
For me, I would appreciate that, but there's been kind of a mixed bag of concerns with the use. So I don't want to waste your time doing that. So how would we address that? Just poll council, and because I guess do we vote? Or do we not? Like, how do we address that? So, because like I said, I don't want to waste your time. If it's going to be no regardless, because some, don't want a Chipotle, then, it's
Well,
it's
the
a
building
point.
itself is the next item.
Well, if the applicant requests the item be postponed to take that step, then that request could be formally made, and you could, the item could be tabled until they come back.
Including the next agenda item?
Agenda item 21 is dependent on agenda item 20 being approved. There's no site plan until the use is approved. So they would both, you'd hit the pause button on both if that request is made.
Mayor, can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
From living here since like 2011 and visiting before that, just historically, when we look at the use, those aren't sticking anymore in the village. And that's kind of what I was trying to say earlier is I almost would love to see a revisit of what could be the other half of that building for the use. I'm not saying it has to be non-food, it could be food, but I'd like to see if you guys would consider it, because Subway left. What was the other? Wendy's left. Pizzas are super competitive. Mexican is very competitive. They come, they go. And that's where I'm kind of sitting with the use is I still don't think it fits the village. And I'm just going historically and factually too, based on what's been coming and going. And that's it.
If it helps the decision at all, I'm a no either way, if it's drive-through or not drive-through.
I would concur. Not only do I have concerns with the ingress and the egress, I just don't think it fits. And Councilman French had talked about one of the other criteria, and I don't think it fits. I really want that building to be occupied. I just don't think this is the use for it. So I can't imagine, in fairness to the applicant, I can't imagine no walk-up window is going to change my opinion on that. So I want to be fair to the mayor's comment.
No, exactly. Thank you.
So let me add a couple of comments. From a quasi-judicial hearing standpoint, your decision needs to be based on the evidence in the record. So if you believe that regardless of the drive-up window, there is still some special exception criteria in 1 through 6 that's on the board, because if the drive-up window goes away, the other code criteria become irrelevant. Based on what's before you tonight, I think that's an acceptable position to take, but it would be inappropriate to presuppose something based on a future presentation that hasn't been made yet. If you understand what I'm saying.
As it stands tonight, 2 and 6, I am convicted in that 2 and 6 do not meet the requirements. That's my.
Regardless, and I understand that's your, that's what you believe based on the evidence, but then that's regardless of whether there's a drive-up component or not.
That's correct.
Okay.
I said that, but even if, with the drive-up, I would say, as presented tonight with a walk-up window, I would say I'm standing firm with 2 and 6.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, let's take a vote then.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my original comments. I mean, I get it. You know, we'd all love this to be some local business owner that wanted to put in a nice local restaurant without a pickup window. But I have a lot of fear that if we keep saying no, eventually it's going to be something we really don't want. And I mean, we're being very picky, in my opinion. I really do think that. And I oppose this, you know, the last design, which I know we're not talking about, I would have never approved it. We'll get to that on the next one. But we all need to understand that if we keep saying no, eventually something might end up here we really don't want. And that might, just by right, we may not have an opinion. So, listen, we all have an opinion, that's fine. But I'm sticking with my comment. I can't seem to find, I've read 1 through 6 at least 3 times, and I am very, other than the ingress egress, which is very much dependent on the pickup window. I can't see anything up there other than the fact that it is a fast food, and yes, I get it. We'd all love to have not a fast food there, but consider the alternative is what I'm saying. So right now, I'm okay. I'm in favor of it. I think we're going at risk here.
Okay, so someone should make a motion, and then since we do have to justify our votes on the criteria, we'll do a roll call after someone makes a motion to approve or deny.
So we got to make something. So I'll go ahead. I'll just make a motion to approve just to get that ball rolling. How about that?
Second.
To approve.
I'm sorry?
You make a motion to approve?
No.
He's making.
What was your
He's
motion?
making a motion
My
to.
motion was to approve strictly because we got to get the vote going here.
Oh, I
And that's where I
apologize.
stand right now.
I'll let somebody else go.
Okay, so there's no second, so can I get a motion to deny, which I think someone else wants to do?
I move to deny the special exemption.
And can we get a roll call, or, wait, I need a second on that, sorry.
And again, I would ask the maker of the motion to specify criteria that you believe have not been met.
Okay, I was gonna do a roll call for that, but you want him to do it now?
My request would be that it be part of the motion,
Okay,
so
okay.
that
Sure.
the record is clear.
I make a motion to deny the special exemption based on the criteria 2, 6, and 8.
Does 8 apply?
2, 6, and what was?
8
8 of chart number 2.
of the second review criteria.
There's 2 separate criteria, correct?
Correct.
Which one?
Yeah, so if I need clarity, please, there's the review criteria under
78,363.
So 2 and 6 under section 78,363, and then 8 under
It's 64.
64. Is that correct?
You want me to remake the motion?
I just want to make sure I'm clear on which, I mean, there's only one number 8, but I need to know which number 2 and 6, which code section that.
Okay, for special exception number 2, 6 of 78,363 and number 8 of 364. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does everybody understand the motion?
Yes.
Sure everybody understands what the motion is. Thank you.
So everyone can agree to that, you don't need us individually saying the criteria that we don't think it meets?
The motion is criteria 2 and 6 under Village Code Section 78-363, and criteria 8 under Village Code Section 78-364.
Okay, so we can all just, okay. All right, can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and I will specifically say it's just for criteria 78364, for the ingress and egress, or no, I'm sorry, I think that's 70, the 360.
64.
Yeah, for the ingress and egress, just specifically for the mobile lane. Otherwise, I align with what Councilmember Patrick was saying. Councilmember Painter, did you vote?
I haven't changed my position.
You still need to say yay or nay.
So, nay.
Thank you. That was a confusing one. Thank you, everyone. So do we even talk about agenda, Jay? We don't even talk about agenda item 21. I mean, does that property owner want any feedback? I mean, are they gonna come back with another tenant space? I don't know if it's permissible to talk about it and give them any feedback at all.
Well, that's a bummer. I had feedback.
No, at this point, I guess he's gonna have to just, Chipotle is just a tenant, so the property owner's gonna have to take a look at what he's gonna do. I know you guys want local businesses. Problem is, local businesses don't have the staying power. They don't have bank power. They can't pay these rates for buildings like this. So that's big. That's the big problem with trying to get small users. So he's gonna have to evaluate what he's gonna do with the property.
Do you want feedback for the property owner though on the next agenda item, if that's permissible, or do you not want
As
feedback
far
at
as the
all?
site plan goes?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the site plan, I guess, will change now depending on.
Completely change, okay.
Yeah, the whole new user at this point, if he can find one. So,
Okay,
okay, thank you.
all right, thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
Troy.
time tonight.
Thank you, Troy.
Okay, so we are skipping agenda item 21. Moving on to agenda item 22, resolution 17-25, adopting our refuse and recycling and yard waste collection rates for next year.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Jeff Snyder. I'm happy to be here. We're looking at solid waste rates, and we have a contract with them. Does this thing work?
No, it's not set up for that. Just tell me where you want to go.
Okay,
Back?
back. All right, this is for the update on the refuse and recycling rates. The refuse and recycling fund has been using up the reserves that we have, and it's time that we want to look at maybe revisiting the cost structure. No indirect costs have been applied to this fund for 23, 24, 24, 25, and we don't anticipate being able to keep it in the black without moving. We are in a contract and with Waste Management, WM, for automated pickup. The agreement has CPI increases of not to exceed 5.75 for this fiscal year. Their rate will be 4.88, and staff is asking for an additional 3.5% to cover the costs. Remember, what happens is it's on our tax bill. It's a non-ad valorem tax, non-ad valorem assessment. Early payers get up to a 4% discount, depending on when they pay. So that eats into our reserves. This thing will be $1.63 a month, or $19.56. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that's where we are. That's what we're asking for. And a bittersweet point that I would like to point out is I have my notice from Port St. Lucie. It is also going up $20 a year. And we are going to be paying $467.33 for one time a week. So it's very bittersweet to me. It's very sweet because the manager worked a great deal with our friends in waste management, and I get to pay substantially more money is the bitter part. But that's what we're looking at. I have projections here to show you that we believe if we go this way, that we won't be back for several years. If they go the way, if people aren't taking more of the discounts than they have. Historically, we've been looking at about 2 to 3% early pay discounts. And so we kept that trend up, and we'll be able to go at least a few more years before we come back, but it will have annual increases up to 5.75, depending on CPI.
Can I just add a couple of points? You can see from our, and he mentioned in our slide, from our projections, we have not collected indirect costs that we typically do for all of our funds. This is to help stabilize that fund. I know Mr. Jeff Saban is here. I told him, it'd be great if he would come in case there's any questions as far as operations or comparable services that we have. He did provide me some updated costs. Jupiter's rate is $24.42 for a similar service. Juno just passed their rate, very similar service at $21.71. JIC's $43.53, almost double ours. Palm Beach Shores is $20.81. Martin County is $26. They have 2 bids out that are in the $26, $27 range. So our rates at $19.56, going up to $19.56, is very comparable and competitive.
Thank you. All right, council, open up for discussion.
I don't have any questions or comments. I agree. I think our village manager and staff have negotiated as good of a deal as possible here. So I'm good with it.
You know how I feel about trash. We need it. It's hard to argue. Jeff, I appreciate you working with our staff all the time and always trying to be open-minded to what we're always asking from you. Just please try to keep that, in our relationship. I know the residents will appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. No comments.
Yeah, thanks to staff and to WM. We really appreciate it. This is, we were victim to the collection method. We are losing when people prepay in November, we're losing, and this is really recouping that. We've stopped doing, as you can see for the public, you can see we stopped collecting the indirect costs or, reimbursing for admin. And I just think we have to do this, or we're going to be tapping into the reserves that we worked so hard, and council's well before I was involved, to get us to where we are. So it hurts. We did it for the water, the capital improvement charge for the water that we talk about repeatedly on how can we get around that, or what can we do to get rid of that. And if it sounds like what I've been told by our manager is that, next year it hopefully will be less than 3.5%. And then, as you can see here, it hopefully goes away in years 2. So I'm in support of this. I hate there's any type of increase, but this is an enterprise, this is like an enterprise fund. It needs to pay for itself. So I think we really need to do that. And to add the staff to bill it monthly and collect it ourselves to get that discount back, we're just going to have to hire another person. So I don't think we gain anything by doing that. So I'm in support of this, as much as I hate the fee increase, but I'm in support of it.
Yeah, I'm good with the WM portion of the resolution, of course, but I'm still kind of on the fence with that 3.5% fee recovery charge, or whatever we want to call it, for us. What is the dollar amount? On that slide, it said $9,000 a year. What dollar amount is that for this year and maybe next year and the following year? And you're saying we might be caught up then by the third year.
Recapturing here is $25,000 for this upcoming year, and that's to give us operating money. And if it does go down, the discounts accepted are more than that, then we'll have some money for some leeway there. I think we're being very conservative at this ask, and I don't believe we'll need to be asking next year if we approve it this year, other than the WMs.
So if you don't have to ask next year, and you're saying it's just $25,000, it's just been a hard pill to swallow. Everything's going up, you know, everything's constantly going up every single year. And it's always justified, but I know, you know, again, we're bringing in more property tax revenue again this year, more than last. And I feel like 25,000 is such a small amount. You know, we're not, potentially not, based on the last budget workshop, earmarking that 1.3 from reserves for Remembrance Park. It's such a small amount. I know it's not typical practice to transfer from the general fund to an enterprise account, but I think this is unique. And it's just like, if there's any way we can provide relief to the residents and not have to increase yet another fee, it's such a small dollar amount. And if you're saying 25,000 will do the trick, and then we probably wouldn't even have to charge the fee again, not next year, but the year after. I don't know. It's something I want to throw out there to see if council would want to consider.
I think you make a valid point for the 1 year, but I'd still go with Jeff's recommendation on charging the additional for that year and then being done with it instead of making that general fund transfer. I just don't want to get in the habit of making those general fund transfers.
I don't mean to bring back up the water fund, but we have roughly 7,000 homes that we're collecting the $10 a month charge on. So that's $7,000. I'm just trying to see, how far apart is it from something we've already done? Because then, it's just 25,000 here and it's 40,000 there. Well, then let's just absorb the $10 a month hard costs, the $120 a year for the water capital improvement fund. It's a service that needs to be paid for. I mean, we all pay it. It's not a regress. I don't look at it as a regressive tax. Everybody pays this. Everybody has garbage. They come 2 times a week. We've got an amazing contract, and I don't want to go upside down because it's only just a little bit. But that argument, then it becomes incremental creep, and we can see the chart was up there that incremental creep in every fund we have. Then we are supplanting it with our general fund or our reserves, and I don't want to do this either, and I understand where the mayor's coming from and anybody that is okay with it, but I'm just trying to be fiscally conservative and say, no, I think we need to, I don't want to increase it, but I'm going to pay it just like everybody else. It's not like I'm up here saying, you pay it, not me. I'm going to pay it just as everybody else is going to pay it. I think it's something that I don't want to see us start dipping and make that, it's just a little bit. It's just a little bit, because a little bit times 5 enterprise funds times the next 10 years, just have a concern with that.
Yeah, and I was a one-time suggestion, because trust me, I've been on the enterprise fund side of the policy committees. That's not best practice. Usually it's looked down upon more from transferring from the enterprise funds to general fund, because it means you're collecting too much user fees. Not as frowned upon going the other way, but like I said, a one-time thing. It's such a small dollar amount in the big picture. With the increased revenue we've continued to receive every year, we've built up reserves, and I feel like, the people that are paying early are getting penalized for it now, because, I'm gonna get a discount, but not really, because I'm gonna be charged somewhere else for that discount that I took. So, again, I just wanted to throw it out there, because totally in favor of the WM part of this, but I'm not in favor of the 3.5 increase, because I think we could handle it another way for just this next year. Okay, is there any public comment cards? No, any public comment? Good evening, everyone. Pat Watkins, 167 River Drive. I just wanted to offer that for decades now, Jeff Saban has been a wonderful partner to the village and has always worked well with us and bent over backwards. And one of our major, benefits from this is during hurricane time, we're one of the first municipalities that are cleaned up. And even before this automated system, his guys coming by were so courteous and kind. If you're injured, they try to help you with the cans and all this. They bent over backwards, so I would encourage you to support this. Yes, prices are going up everywhere, but there's no reason there shouldn't. If this is what we need to carry on business well for the village and have the trash collection the way we're used to having it, I say support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, can I get a motion?
So move. I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Say no. I am in favor of the WM increase, but I have to vote no, because I'm not in favor of the village 3.5% fee we're tacking on.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item 23, resolution number 13-24, adopting our stormwater utility fees for next fiscal year.
Good evening, Marjorie Craig, Utilities Director, and this is a request to approve the annual stormwater rates for the Stormwater Enterprise Fund, and we do that through a non-ad valorem assessment on the annual tax roll, like most of the stormwater utilities in Palm Beach County. We're recommending the resolution and revised fee schedule, increasing the stormwater rates by 5% for fiscal year 2025. That equates to about $4.51 annually for the base residential rate, and that equates to about 38 cents per month. And I realize that that is another increase, but it is something that's sorely needed by our stormwater system. We are responsible for the operating and maintenance of our stormwater system, and for the MPDS, which is just an acronym for the county permitting, stormwater permitting and compliance requirements. So there's a lot of things that we are required to do by law to maintain our stormwater system. And as you know, I have stood up here and talked about our stormwater system and the needs that we have. And we have tried everywhere we can to get grants. You're also aware of that. We have a current grant for the Dover Ditch Project for improvement. And we spent over $2.6 million over the last 5 years to work to keep up with the maintenance of our system. And the biggest bang for the buck right now is stormwater pipelining to get ahead of those failing stormwater pipes. As a part of your packet, we have a recommended resolution for that rate increase. Also Exhibit A, the proposed stormwater rates. And then a rate comparison of the village with other stormwater utilities in the area, and we fall just a little bit to the right of the middle. Then our net position in stormwater budget, so that's our current rates, and then what we have planned for the coming year, and what our net position is. And then we also included the proof of publication to our residents and customers. We did send out, we posted it on the county website, and then also we sent out a letter to everyone. So with that, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Marjorie. Council, any comments or questions?
None. Thank you, Marjorie.
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will say, unlike the previous agenda item, this one, I'm really pleased. I know we're taking half, I think, of the water utility tax to fund this year. So again, there, we thought, looked outside the box, so we don't have to charge more than the 5% this year. So I'm very pleased with that. Thank you. Any public comment cards?
Yes, we have a Michael Thomas.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Michael Tomes, resident of Tequesta Trace, 110D Lighthouse Circle. I'm a past civil engineer in multiple states, including Florida, retired, white hair. The Village Council, I'd like to have the minutes of this section sent to me. I received on your July 11th letter on July the 20th, which indicated that my personal increase was going to be around $97, and then I sent my email into them. I understand Village Section 74201, bracket 2, regarding the cost of operating the system, and I know it has to be done, and I'm fully behind that. And it's to be allocated in a relationship to the benefits enjoyed and services received therefrom. But Tequesta Trace and its 134 units receive no service. We don't connect to the stormwater system. We're self-contained. I understand Section 74202, definitions, and what ERU means, and under one, the cost system and services
which service each individual resident. Once again, this is not the case for Tequesta Trace. We maintain our own service. We have our own storm system. We have our own roads. It's a small section. We're approximately 6% of the population of the village of Tequesta, but in the ERU units, we would make up about 8%. The issue is the association owns and maintains its own stormwater system. I informed the village on the 20th when I got the letter, and they sent me a second notice back in response that they received it on the 21st. And then in the mail, I got a restatement of the letter, of which the rates were different than the first letter quoted to me, and the estimates of the money that you're gathering was different. The estimate was initially written down as $627,000. The new revised number on the new letter was $748,488, 27% increase. My rate was, the whole issue that I was presenting to the board through my email was so that the person in charge of doing this estimate would actually follow their own advice and rules and acknowledge that there was an error made. We, Tequesta Trace, are not in your stormwater system. We get our water there, we pay our sewer bills, everything else, but we're not in your system. Why are we being charged? That's 134 units. Myself, my fellow members, I didn't receive an answer.
Okay, sir. Unfortunately, your time's up, but maybe Marjorie can come up. Can you address some of these questions on the spot, if you wouldn't mind? Thank you.
I'm gonna have to get with him, because I don't know, this was all calculated and put together, through another system. I don't know. I'll have to check into what he's talking about, because I'm
Okay.
not.
Sir, could you be sure to leave your contact information so we can get in touch with you and address some of these questions after the meeting?
Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry?
Okay. Sir, if you maybe just leave your email with the clerk just to be sure before you leave tonight, that would be great. Okay, you have it, perfect, thank you. We will absolutely get back in touch with you. All right, is there any other public comment? Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, moving on. Oh. I don't know who
I
seconded.
second.
Moving on, we're on agenda item 24, correct? Yes. Agenda item 24, consider approval of DVAN agreement piggybacking Town of Jupiter for utility repairs and improvements.
Marjorie Craig, Utilities Director, and this is a piggyback on the Town of Jupiter on their contract, and it's just sound utilities business to have a contract in place for utility repairs as needed. And so we recommend approval.
Thank you. Any comments from council?
No comments.
Any public cards in this one? Any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Marjorie.
Agenda item 25, or 2025-2026 benefits renewal for health, dental, and group life insurance. Marlene?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Merlene Reed, Director, HR, Risk Management. First of all, I want to thank the committee that works together on this every year. We have Christian Bergstrom from the Gearing Group. We have the PBA rep, Matt Muniz, and Ray Kurkowski. The IAFF rep, Jason Fawcett, along with Kayla Preston, who helped him out a little bit there. And we had Bo Chesney, who once represented the CWA. As the manager advised, the CWA was decertified today. The management reps remain Brad Gomberg and Jeff Snyder, and we make our recommendations to the village manager. So I want to thank everyone for that.
Okay, this item addresses the 2025-26 benefits renewal for health, dental, group life insurance, and the employee assistance program. The village currently offers fully insured medical, dental, basic life, and accidental death and dismemberment insurance coverages, along with the EAP. And at the employee's expense, there is also vision, voluntary life, AD&D, and voluntary long-term disability. Only health insurance and the EAP opened up this year, as all other coverages were negotiated for a minimum of 2 years. So this year, we continued to shop the market due to the fact that we're still experiencing large claims. And at our July meeting, we reviewed 3 proposals, including our current carriers, FMIT, United Healthcare. They came back with a 16.7% renewal number. And then there's another company called Curative. I understand they're new to the market. They came in with 10.9%, and then Florida Blue came in with 9.2%. The committee unanimously agreed to recommend to the village manager that the health insurance plan be moved from FMIT UHC to Florida Blue effective 10/1/2025. So what are we looking at now? There's the budget actually had a 9.2%. We had put aside 9.2% estimated, which is exactly what Florida Blue came in at. So it's important to note here that our philosophy with benefits and compensation is to match the market. But you will see I have a line here because Jeremy and I were talking about the fact that we need to start taking a look at our current approach to providing health insurance while ensuring, it's a delicate balance, ensuring that we continue to remain competitive and able to attract and retain employees. What does that mean? Specifically, we intend to raise this matter during the union negotiation process, and in order to address the escalating costs that we're experiencing currently. Appendix A, if you take a look at Appendix A, the overall breakdown, if you go to the bottom, extreme right column at the bottom, you will see that the overall cost is $214,093, which is an overall 8.8%. And of that, the employer is looking at, with the village, is looking at $189,204, which is 8.9%, and the employees, their share would be $24,889, or a 7.7% increase. So we are asking tonight that council considers and approve the 2025 renewals for health, dental, group life insurance, and the EAP. And Christian and myself are now available to answer any questions that you have. Thank you, Marlene. Council, any comments or questions?
Thank you.
No comments.
None. Good job.
Laurie, any cards? No? Any public comment? Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Agenda item 26, consider approval of property and casualty and ancillary insurance renewals for 2025-2026. Okay. Our property and casualty insurance is currently underwritten by Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, and this includes property, general liability, workers' comp, cyber, and auto. Each year, it's important to note that the village receives a 7% credit with FMIT due to our active enforcement of our safety and drug-free workplace programs, and that's 2% and 5% respectively. The major changes for the upcoming fiscal year are as follows. Property premium decreased by 15%, which translates to $73,169. I understand, Rami is here from the Gearing Group as well, that it's due to the current state of the market. And if you wanted more information on that, she's happy to provide that. But apparently it's going down, property premium. The other lines experienced combined increases of $85,000 and $35. The most significant increases were general liability, which went up 14%, and workers' comp, which went up 22%. Combined together, that's $76,255. The reason for these increases are mainly it's the impact of our payroll, which if you look at the attachment there, you will see that we move from roughly 10 mil to 11,646,823. So our payroll and our headcount, that's the biggest contributing factors that we have there. We are fortunate. One thing we're very happy about, if you look at our experience mod factor, right somewhere in the middle there, we were at 0.92 and now we're at 0.80, which is very good. It means that our workers come, we're trending in the right direction and doing way better than previous years. I just took a quick look back at the previous years. 2023, we were at 1.07, and 2022, 1.13, which is not good. So that helped to keep the workers' numbers down. And then the rest, cyber, auto physical, and auto liability accounted for under 10,000. So in summary, FMIT for the upcoming year, the total increase is 11,867, representing a 1.2% increase over the expiring years. The village also has some other ancillary lines of coverage to include public safety statutory, AD&D, firefighter cancer, storage tank liability, and crime policies. And together these policy premiums total $9,053, up 7% over the expiring year. The agenda was updated this week to reflect a minor decline of $121 in premiums for the statutory AD&D. So the numbers have changed a little bit. Appendix A outlines, it's accurate on Appendix A. It outlines a total renewal cost of $970,388 for all lines of insurance now, inclusive of broker's fee, and it's up overall 1.29%. And as always, I ask for an additional $10,000 to fund an average of 2 deductibles. Our deductible payments each year, our policy requires $5,000 for deductibles. So I'm asking for an additional $10,000. So I've added on, so this accounts for an overall additional $10,000. So you will see $970,388 on the appendix, and we're asking for $980,388. And of course, we're recommending that we renew with the 2025-2026 property and casualty and workers' comp with FMIT and the other 4 ancillary policies with the carriers outlined in Appendix A. And we're open for questions. Thank you. Council, any comments or questions for Marlene?
No.
No.
Good job, no comments.
Just curious, what is the auto physical damage? I mean, while it went up percentage-wise, it's 24%, but it's about 3,500, but what is...
The physical damage, that literally what it,
For in the event there's a claim? So that's like comparable, Romney Mitchell, Gary Group, that's comparable to like your own auto insurance if you get into like a collision or there's a comprehensive damage, like a tree falls on a vehicle. That's typically just based on the cost of replacement costs for vehicles nowadays, obviously having increased. Florida's market, terrible with respect to auto insurance. And again, that has a lot to do with replacement costs, but also the fact of the matter is that it's based on the asset schedule. So however many vehicles are insured, they look at the value that we are insuring those vehicles at, and they assess the premium based on that. So a newer vehicle causes your premium to go up, or an older vehicle? Right, well, both, right? So replacement cost is, typically trending up. So if you have, and I know you have a fleet, you have fire trucks, you have police vehicles, fire trucks are very expensive now. I think the average cost of that's well over $1 million. So when you think about replacement costs on those assets, certainly that's what contributes to an increase. Thank you for clarification.
I don't have any comments.
Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Any comment cards? No? Any public comment? Nope. Can I get a motion? Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 27, consider approval of increasing the number of authorized positions in the fire department.
So this is an item I can tackle, or at least lead off. This is an item that we brought to council 2 separate occasions. This will temporarily authorize additional firefighter position for the fire department. This will allow us to fill some holes in staffing. This position will be absorbed through attrition, meaning if we lose somebody to retirement or to take another job or leave the department, that authorization will go back to our normal staffing. And so we will absorb that position without further council action taken. It will bring, this will help us bring people up to speed quicker. It does take a while with the fire department to bring somebody up where they can stand on their own 2 feet. We do have 2 retirements pending or coming up there in the drop. I think the chief mentioned one that was within the next year. So if nothing else, if we have no other attrition, it'll be a good transition for the person to stand up, get on their feet, and have that transition. So we are asking for a temporary authorization of a firefighter position. So we have 21 authorized positions, and we would be authorizing temporarily a 22nd position to help fill some of our staffing needs.
24, and this would be 25.
Oh, yep. Forgot I wasn't still on my 7-man shift, so we're an 8-man shifts now. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago. Response. Thank you.
So it would come up 1, it would be 25 total.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Council, any comments or questions?
No comments.
Define, why is it called temporary?
Because we're only authorized,
Replace that.
we're only authorized right now for 24 firefighters plus the chief in that department.
This will get us to
And so-
25, which will.
So
revert
25
back once somebody-
temporarily, and then,
Okay.
you know, unless, you know, if, at some point, if we were gonna change the staffing schedule within the department, we'd bring that to council would approve that, kind of how we went from 7-man to 8-man shifts, but this is just temporary.
Neglected to ask you that question in the review, so I apologize for asking that question.
Okay, any comment cards? Nope, any public comment? All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 28, resolution 14-25, for council to authorize a fee increase in our EMS transport.
Okay, good evening again, council. So just a little historic, what we're going for. We haven't raised EMS fees in almost 5 years. Next month will be 5 years. We've fallen to the very bottom of EMS fees, and it's not close. It's just us and Green Acres are at the bottom. We are actually below Medicare acceptable for ALS 2. If we proceed this way, we won't be able to cover our costs. So this way, we're asking for one-time bulk increase of 15%. And it sounds like a lot, but it's actually only about $100 per category. And it takes us from the bottom to about the lower end of the median range for EMS transport fees. And those all go up. A majority of the departments, there's 13 that transport within the county. You can see the numbers there. Most of them are doing this through CPI, which I will be back for an ordinance change in about a month and a half to try to go forward with that. If we would have done CPI through the past 5 years, we wouldn't be asking for this one bulk increase, because we would be right around where we would need to be, and then this wouldn't be happening. We wouldn't have to get here. So as you can see, right now, with BLS, we are 610 compared to the Palm Beach County average. It's the lower box on that screen, 670 for ALS 1. ALS 2 is 745, so we're well below the Palm Beach County average. We're also below Martin County Fire Rescue as well. So this doesn't just impact our residents, this impacts any call we run, even if we are outside the village. So JIC, unincorporated town of Jupiter, Martin County, we keep and collect our own revenue from anything we transport. Medicare is allowable to about 80%, and you've seen the numbers as well. We'll go to them in another screen. But since we've switched to our EMS billing, third-party billing agency, there's been a tremendous increase in collectible, almost $500,000 this year comparatively. So EMSMC has also requested we do this. They've asked for this same increase or more because it behooves them, because the more they collect, the more we collect. So that's part of their billing structure that was done prior to my arrival. So this is, like I said, this is a 15% fee across the board. It's, doesn't make us the top, doesn't even make us in the middle. We're at the median end. So with that, any questions or need any more of this explained to you? I'm more than happy to explain it all. I've got a lot of numbers and I don't want to just throw a bunch of numbers at you. But this catches us up. And then moving forward, we'll go to CPI just like our other fee structure that we voted on last month. And then we won't have this problem to where we're chasing this revenue or even to break even for what we spend on an EMS transport.
Thank you, Chief. Council, any comments, questions?
I do. So you said Medicare covers about 80%.
Yes, ma'am.
So a senior citizen could be looking at like $162 left over.
So if they have a
roughly.
supplemental, which most do, that supplemental will cover another 20% of that. So the bulk of this, if you think of it as going to an ER and paying a copay, even if you have Medicare, you're gonna end up paying some type of copay. That's almost what this is gonna come out to. So when we have one person that was a part-time firefighter collecting, he's trying to, do this, he's the collection guy. Now we have a professional agency doing this. They're dealing with the insurance companies. They're not gonna be harassing people unless they have no health care whatsoever. That's not really the way it works.
Yeah,
Because I've requested that. I said, you're not calling my people. They're like, unless they're self-pay, we generally don't have to.
Right. No, I lived here when, I remember those conversations from long council.
Of course.
And that's kind of where my mind is going to. Just historically, I think those numbers were always very delicate because of the fact that sometimes people have to pay out of pocket for them.
course.
And there was a lot of discussion, and this is before my time on council, of we don't want people to be afraid to call you guys.
No, absolutely not.
Because usually, that's a general society thing, like, oh, don't call them, I can't afford it. And then it's the, don't take me to the hospital, I just put me back in my house, like, leave me alone. And I don't want to go down that road, so I'm
No,
gonna,
we're gonna, the bulk of this is gonna be covered by Medicare A or B and a supplemental.
And then I recently, about a month ago, had a senior citizen call me. There's an issue, and she got one of our bills from our department, and I sent her in the right direction, because obviously that's not my
Sure.
department. But it made me think, and then it's funny you bring this up, and so just, again, I'm just trying to look at, be sensitive to the amounts, because medical is a nightmare already.
Oh, no, 100%. And
And-
we're just trying to cover our costs, to be
Yeah.
quite honest with you.
And so just my only thing to say is, because you guys do so much with our senior citizens and anybody, especially even families, I mean, insurance is super expensive. If you guys ever find any kind of tidbits that help, we can always help educate residents.
Of course.
Like those fillers, and those are hard too. I have to deal with those with my own family, like my mom. So I totally get where you guys are coming from, and I see the other side too. So I'm not against it, I'm just, always be mindful, please.
Of course. That's why I'm not shooting for I don't want to be
Yeah.
number one in
I know,
this
and that's
one
kind
at
of what
all,
I'm saying
ever.
too.
Everything
to my
else, I'll be number
council
one, not
members
this
is,
one.
I don't think the village needs to be number one unless there's like a desperate. I don't think we're climbing that ladder like we do on some other ladders in comparison.
And these do run somewhat in cycles. Some do CPI, some do it every year, some do it every 3 years, whatever. They're about half do it via CPI. So the increments don't seem as strong and as heavy-handed as this one does. So that's why I'm moving forward with that. And like I said, in about
Okay.
6 weeks, you'll see me again, but that's gonna be an automatic fee increase, basically a review, and then it'll be like a consent agenda type item.
Interesting, okay. All right, well, thank you for putting that together. Appreciate it.
No comment?
I just, again, kind of like Councilmember Brandon said, I want to be sensitive with this, and it's one of those, like, why is it completely necessary? And it's a tricky one to wrap your head around, because we have to do a write-off, an expenditure every year.
Right.
So it's not it's not an easy financial projection to look at and kind of understand where the need is. So if we increase these fees, are we expecting, I know we're doing better with reducing the write-off cost because of the billing company that we're using, but if we're increasing, those fees, is the write-off gonna increase too because it costs more? I guess, where's the balance, and is this gonna
There is a
reduce
balance
the
there.
write-off? Like, I
There
just
is
wanna
a
understand
balance.
it.
And so our revenue generated will definitely go up. That's speculative on my behalf. I can't really give you, it's gonna go up $100,000, but it's already increased so much from what EMSMC has done. And I know the write-offs have definitely gone down because it's a professional billing company. That's what they do. So we won't have to worry about it. They'll also capture more of what we have out there. And I think that the write-offs may go up a little bit, but I think the revenue will outpace that, to be honest with you. That's probably the way, that's kind of the projection that I get from EMSMC when I talk to them, and they do this nationwide. Because I asked this very similar question to them. I said, so how can you collect more? It's, a lot of it is gonna come from that supplemental, and then that, like I described it as a copay almost. But I don't think the write-offs, are gonna go up a whole lot more just because of this third-party billing agency.
Okay. I think it's a hard thing too. You can't really give us projections because it's so it's different every year.
And the numbers are set for Medicare. There's a whole calculation that they do, and it's regional / by state. So there's a lot that goes into it. And then there's a factor that they multiply it out. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around unless you're an insurance Medicare expert, but I'm trying to become one, as it were, so.
But you think the increased revenue will help cover some of those write-offs then? Like that would
100%.
outpace the
100%.
write-off increase?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. And then on your report, it says that we don't accept Medicaid. I guess, I mean, the manager told me it's because it costs too much. Can you explain that? And is there ever room down the road to consider it?
So I've started the ball rolling again. So what happened was it had gone through the process twice prior to my arrival. I believe it was both times with Chief True. They had some turnover with the MSMC, and so they stopped the process. You have to run a background check on anybody that's going to be involved in Medicaid, not similar to Medicare, that's an automatic. But Medicaid, we are less than 1.8% of the village is actually covered by Medicaid. So they become an automatic write-off, that 1.8%. And that's through statute. I read that actually this afternoon. So, but we did get the ball rolling again with Medicaid. We're going to go through the process. It's my understanding if you don't have enough call volume in Medicaid that it's very difficult to keep, but I'm still researching that. And I'm dealing with the MSMC. They've opened a ticket, and if it's something worthwhile for us to do, cost to return, then we will do it. If it's not, and we're actually going to lose money by accepting Medicaid and having to pay EMSMC more, then we will not. But it's just because of our population. Like I said, we're less than 1.82 or something like that. That's why I think it died on the vine previous to me. But they did open a ticket, and we're gonna try it again and see where it goes.
Okay. Well, thank you for explaining that, and thank you for looking into it again. Okay. Laurie, any public comment cards? Nope. Any public comment? Nope.
I have one more question.
Oh, yep. Go ahead.
Referring to the write-offs, have our write-offs, they've gone down from the previous years? Like, we're still in that projection to keep going down, right?
Yep.
What do you feel like, why do you feel like we have so many write-offs? People avoiding it, can't afford it?
I think a lot of it has to
insurance
do
issues?
with our method of billing. I don't judge anything that went on before I got here, but I think that because we weren't a professional billing company, I think that that's why we have a part-time firefighter paramedic that was doing our billing.
Whatever.
So he still is. For now, he's catching up with the stuff prior to 2024. So we're also going to see some of those numbers come through, but they've definitely gone down. And Mr. Allen, if you can speak on that as well, I think they've gone down substantially since EMSMC has come on board.
Okay.
But I think that's the biggest reason from an outside perspective coming in late into this one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You get that, Laurie? Okay. Thank you, Chief. Agenda item 29, consider approval of the First Amendment of Agreement for Fire Rescue Services between Tequesta and Jupiter Inlet Colony.
Thank you, Mayor. Recently, the chief and I attended the JIC council meeting where they approved this agreement. As you guys recall, earlier in the year, we brought this, maybe even late last year, brought this agreement to renew this agreement. The original agreement was a 20-year agreement. The original was a 20-year agreement, which would specify that the first 5 years they would freeze the cost, then it'd be a 4% escalator for the next 5 years, and then the last 10 years would be 6%. When they did that originally in 2002, after 10 years, they came back, amended the agreement. extended the terms out another 20 years, did the same exact terms. We brought the agreement to council. Council said that if we're going to do this and we're going to extend these terms, it needs to be those same terms, which is the first 5 years, which is what you have in front of you, the first 5 years of this agreement. There will be no increase to cost. It's frozen at what it is today for 5 years. And then after that, it's a 4% escalator for the next 5 years. And then the last 10 years will be 6%. The value of this is that it freezes, it locks them in with no out for 10 years. So the JIC, when they sign up for this, they are in an agreement with us for 10 years and do not have an out per contract. So that's the value. Obviously, everybody, knows the elephant in the room with Jupiter and them starting on fire. JIC values our partnership. They don't want to get caught up in that. We don't want to get caught up in that. So this is kind of puts this, solidifies our partnership with JIC. And they had nothing but positive things to say about our fire department. Appreciate the chief going with me to that meeting, and I know he's been a partner with getting them some information as they were contemplating that. But what you have in front of you is those terms.
Thank you. Council?
No comments.
Nothing.
Thank you just to you two for negotiating the new agreement, and I agree they've been a great partner for a very long time, and I'm happy to continue that relationship. Any public comment cards? Nope. Any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 30, notification of Dover Ditch Shoreline FDEP grant amendment for a time extension.
Marjorie Craig, Utilities Director. This is an amendment to our existing grant agreement for Dover Ditch, and it's basically just a time extension because of the delays due to the Army Corps of Engineers permitting. So they cost us like an extra year, and this is so that we can keep our grant. Any question?
Council?
Questions?
No, ma'am.
No.
Nope. Any comment cards? Nope. Any public comment? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Right, and the last agenda item, any other matters? Council, anything else to bring up tonight?
No, ma'am.
No, Mayor.
Oh, me neither. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.